All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
Was good.
Episode 235 is in full swing, full motion. We're so happy to be here with you and for you to be here with us, whether you were live streaming, podcasting, or YouTube. We want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this time as we have a great, fun-filled, jam-packed show. So jam-packed, so fun-filled that we had to start it again for a second consecutive week, an hour ahead of time, man. We were chomping at the bit, guys. We couldn't wait to get to you guys. We couldn't wait for the lights to come on and for you guys to join in with us, guys. And we're so excited for you guys to do that again this week because we have another Chiefs game to break down, to unpack, and make some predictions on. I hope you guys are ready for that because the Chiefs have the Bears coming to town, and there is a lot, believe it or not, despite the mismatch this seems to look like and seem to be, there's a lot to actually talk about and address when it comes to on and off the field situations in this particular matchup. Before we get to any of that, before we get to you guys in the Speak It segment, we want to make sure that you guys, first and foremost, hit us up on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, but most importantly, hit us up in the comments, man. Get us some questions, get us some takes. Let us know what you guys are thinking, what you're feeling about the things in the world of sports in general. But if you have any particular Chiefs takes that you guys want to have out there, or you guys do have out there, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you guys are talking about. We'll get it on the screen, and Trevor and I will react to them accordingly. We promise you that. We're also going to be handing out some L's as we do at the end of every single show, and there's plenty of those as well this week. It's just been rich. It's almost like the sports gods have just been raining those upon us, and we have to pick and choose now. Sometimes we have to go and find them, search for them. Sometimes they just fall right in our lap, and I'm sure that Trevor and I will both have a couple low-hanging fruit L's, or maybe some ones that we didn't expect. We don't know yet. Trevor and I don't talk about these things before the show. You find out as we find out. That's a rule that we have here at the Spoken Podcast, and I hope you're as excited as I am. But first and foremost, guys, I want to talk about something that, because you guys know that we have now moved on. Starcade has given us another show, Chatting Up the Chiefs, with former Chief Von Booker. We give you our post-game reactions. So we're not going to talk about the Chiefs-Jaguars game last week. If you want to get Trevor and I's immediate responses and reactions to what took place in Jacksonville last Sunday, go to Starcade Media's YouTube page, look up Chatting Up the Chiefs, and you will find our video. It's about 50-ish minutes long. It's not a very long episode, not nearly as long as the ones we do here at the Spoken. We're a lot more detailed and in-depth here at the Spoken because we have a little bit more time to do so. But we will give you guys our reactions on that video, so if you want to watch that, go ahead and check that out after the show today. But we're going to move forward. We're going to move on. And like I said, we're going to give you guys our Chiefs and Bears preview and predictions. But I want to start here with the biggest news, I think, here in Kansas City when it comes to the Chiefs this week. And I want to break it down. It's regarding Patrick Mahomes' new restructure, if you really want to call it that. If you weren't aware of it, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs agreed to essentially move up all of his guaranteed money up to the first 4 years remaining of this contract, essentially voiding the last 3 years of the deal that would be remaining, and it gives him a nice bump in pay, which makes him the highest paid player in guaranteed dollars over a 4-year stretch in the history of the NFL, makes him the second highest paid player in the NFL on an annual basis. I believe it's still behind Joe Burrow by a tiny margin. But when we heard this news, when we heard the news come down, a lot of people were really worried about what this actually meant. Because we know that when guaranteed dollars and money starts to get pushed forward, it means that there might be less money to go around to extend players or go and sign other players and do things that make this team better as time goes on. And this has been everyone's complaint about Chris Jones, about, well, if you get this extension and it opens up money, why would you want to help the team? And that infuriated a lot of people. And we know that there's been this feel-good story around Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes about how they, quote-unquote, took less money to help the team. And that's still very true. But I think this kind of flew in the face of a lot of people that thought that and just thought that freely and didn't actually know the details and intricacies of what this contract actually means. The basis of this contract from Patrick Mahomes from day one back in 2020 was intentionally made the way it was, which was the most unique contract in the history of the NFL, to allow the team flexibility to continue to build a winning roster around Patrick Mahomes. This bump in pay doesn't change that one bit, and I'm going to break that down for you guys. So CBS came out with an article this week in regards specifically to what this contract actually details on all sides and on all angles. So just bear with me for just a second, and I'm going to explain to you guys why this is actually a really good thing for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, obviously, and all of us that are going to continue to root for the Chiefs and root for Patrick Mahomes for years to come. Mahomes is now, again, the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL in terms of average annual salary at $52.65 million. He was previously 8th with $45 million. That's actually less than Daniel Jones, who we've all really enjoyed watching this season. The barometer he set was he rewrote the record books back in 2020 with his contract. Mahomes still has the most total money in a contract at $450 million, and he's now second in fully guaranteed money at $210.6 million over the next 4 seasons. This is a quote from Patrick Mahomes. Quote, I think it's just kind of a no that you've got to keep the bar going. You've got to keep it moving, Mahomes said to reporters Wednesday via a Chiefs transcript. Quote, I don't want people to be negotiated against me, and so that's a reason that you do something like I did last week, just trying to keep the market moving in the right direction, trending in the right direction, so not only me, but other quarterbacks and other positions can get paid the money that they deserve, end quote. Another quote. You get, well, you know what? No, hold on. Before I even jump any further, Trevor, I want to stop right there, because I think when people hear those words, it's like, damn, man, Patrick's a really good dude. He wants to. He's doing this for the everyman. You know, he's not just doing it for the other quarterbacks, not just doing this for himself. He's doing this for the other positions, so everybody can get paid, right? Kind of sounds like what Chris Jones was trying to do. Remember when he was trying to get paid higher so the next guy can get paid? Because remember, that's what happened with Aaron Donald, correct? That's why Quinnen Williams got $24 million as opposed to $20. Because Aaron Donald set a high mark, and Quinnen Williams, although still young and not as proven and as accomplished as Aaron Donald, got a bump in pay specifically for what Aaron Donald did. And that's what Chris Jones realized, and that's why Chris Jones was trying to do what he was doing. Sure, it was for his own benefit, like Patrick Mahomes admits, yeah. But it was also for the market. It was also for everybody else. But that's just for another discussion another time. I'm sure that people have opinions on that. But that's what great players do, Trevor.
They hold out that distance.
I'm sure. I'm just saying that this is why guys like him look for high marks and money, because they know this isn't just for them. It's for the next guy. Sure. And that's a very notable thing to talk about, very honorable thing to talk about when it comes to watching out for everybody else. Another quote from Patrick Mahomes is, quote, you get to watch and see what's going on around the league and find that right spot, Mahomes said, and I thought we found a good one in the negotiation that we did that we'll be able to still keep cap space for other guys to get signed, but obviously I got a little bit of money up front, and then we'll kind of redo it and renegotiate it whenever we get to that mark that we talked about. It's a special place and a special relationship that I have with the team to be able to trust them, to be able to, even when I signed the last contract, know that this was going to happen and probably going to happen again at some point, end quote. So let's stop there again, Trevor. Patrick Mahomes is laying out the blueprint of what this means. He's being very intentionally specific. He's letting us know, the fan, that, look, guys, I deserve to get a bump in pay, without question. I've helped lead this team to 5 consecutive AFC Championship home games. We've been to 3 Super Bowls. We've won 2 of them. I've won 2 Super Bowl MVPs. I've won 2 regular season MVPs. I've had the greatest start in the history of the NFL for a 5-year stretch in NFL history for a quarterback. I am deserving from going from 8th to 1st or 2nd in money. None of us are going to debate that. So that part alone makes this sensible. None of us can debate him doing this on that alone, on the merit of his accomplishments alone. But guys, you have to understand, this is also going to help the team. You know, by doing this, it immediately opened up $2.5 million for the Chiefs cap this season. And then when you look at the further seasons with the new TV contracts that the NFL just divvied out, where every team's going to make substantial amounts of money on that, the cap is going up $30-40 million this next year. With everything that's already in place, you don't think Patrick Mahomes knew that this was going to benefit the team for the long run as well? He's not making this move if he knows it's going to be a detriment to the team. How do I know that? Because his first contract did the exact same thing. This restructure only enhances what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs were already doing 3-4 years ago when they came up with this contract initially. This is just revamping it. This is just adding context to it. This is just making it a better situation for both sides. It doesn't actually shorten the contract. What it's doing is it's pushing all the money up front, so in 2026, they can do this again, like Tom Brady did with the Patriots, where it opens up more money so they can continue to build awesome defenses, add skill positions around Patrick Mahomes, pay for an awesome offensive line. All these things are possible if you do it and word it correctly, and when you have guys like Brett Veach, when you have guys like Brett Tillis, their cap manager, when you have those guys in place with a quarterback that is more than willing to shape it and form it the way that Patrick Mahomes has and will continue to, you're going to see teams like the Chiefs currently have, and boy, are we loving this team right now, outside of the wide receiver room, but we'll talk about that in a second. Outside of just a few situations here or there, this team is absolutely loaded, guys. And this is what Patrick Mahomes wants around him. If it was just money that he wanted, he would have done this in a much different way. He wouldn't have signed a 10-year deal. He would have signed a 5-year deal like almost every other quarterback and got as much guaranteed money as he possibly could within the first 3 years and not have this bump and pay later on, guys. Patrick Mahomes is putting the Chiefs in a great situation. And one more thing, Trevor, and I'll get to your thoughts on this as well, because you and I have not talked about this at all. This is from the CBS writers. So this isn't Patrick Mahomes a quote. This is them. This is coming from them. And this is the most important part that I want you guys to pay attention to. This deal puts Mahomes back to a position where he is among the highest paid players in the league and gives the Chiefs financial flexibility to keep a talented roster around them. This is the final quote of Patrick Mahomes. Quote, "I want to make a lot of money, but I also want to win. I think when you look back on teams and players, you look back at how they won and the perception of how they did things, and so that's what I try to manage and find the right median of getting the money but also winning football games." We know that Patrick Mahomes is in this to make as much money as he possibly can. You know what? Go do it, man. It's gonna be so awesome, Trevor, when one day we have the first billionaire in the NFL. We saw LeBron James do it this last year when he became the first active billionaire in the NBA. Patrick Mahomes will become the first active billionaire in the NFL. It will happen. And so he's not even trying to pretend that isn't an important thing to him. He's got 2 children. He's probably gonna have a couple more before the end of things. Yeah. Him and his wife, him and his family have plans, man. They want to make as much money as they possibly can. He's a businessman. This is why you hire Lee Steinberg. This is why you go and get Chris Cabot. This is why you go and get these guys, because they can get you the money. And when you are as valuable as you are to not only the Chiefs, but to the NFL, you're going to make a ton of money.
And as marketable as he is.
I mean, my God, the dude's on every other commercial.
Individual, yeah.
It's amazing what he's doing. And it's a testament to his integrity and character, too, Trevor, when you're seeing him on these Subway commercials, and he's got Chad Henne on him. Yeah. He's bringing Patrick Mahomes on, or Travis Kelce on the State Farm commercials. It's really cool to see what he doesn't forget who's helped him become great. Andy Reid's on that one about, hey, explain that again with those nuggies, and he's doing the little creepy fingers. This is Patrick Mahomes. This is his inner workings. So if Patrick Mahomes is all about legacy while making his money, you know that they're going to word this and structure this in a way that, although yes, he's going to make a shit ton of money, it's going to be not at the detriment of his team, but actually it's going to be helping them simultaneously. If you're concerned about this, please, you don't even have to take my word for this. You can research I'm just trying to lay the groundwork out for you guys to put you all at ease, because I'm telling you right now, there is nothing to be worried about. This is an amazing thing for both Patrick Mahomes. We all obviously want to see him make his money. He's more than deserving of it. We all know this. We all know that this also means that there's going to be he's going to stay in Kansas City for many more years to come. Because as you saw in the quote, he said, we will renegotiate this when that time comes. This is not even ever entertaining the thought of him hitting free agency. And most times franchise quarterbacks never do. Right. It's very rare that ever happens. But he's telling us, guys, both of my feet are in Kansas City soil. I'm not moving. Me and my family are very happy here. And I believe in this franchise. But see, Trevor, something I want to say about this, though, And it's really cool because we saw Travis Kelce on Pat McAfee's show as well this week talking about how, because McAfee obviously was lobbing it out there. It's like, bro, you're very underpaid. How do you put up with it? How do you do it? How do you deal with it? And I would love to play the clip for you guys, but if you haven't seen it, you can go to Twitter, you can go wherever you want and find it. But Travis Kelce gives the very presidential and diplomatic response of I let my agents do that. I don't ever want to be the bad guy. I let them figure that out. I just want to be me. I don't ever want that to conflict. But I'm very happy, things like that. He was given a very diplomatic response. And even if Travis Kelce didn't believe that, and I do believe he does. I do believe that Travis Kelce believes what he's saying, that he is happy here in Kansas City, that he lets his agents figure all that shit out. He doesn't want to worry about it. He doesn't want to stress about it. Even if he didn't believe it, even if Patrick Mahomes doesn't believe what he's saying, what this is doing is taking off pressure of Brett Veach, because optics mean a lot. PR means a lot. And when you have your your mega superstars coming out and saying, hey, we're good with where we're at financially. We want to help the team. We love it here. Yada, yada, yada. Even if they're just full of shit, which they're not. Brett Veach now has this look, the optics of, oh, well, the fans are going to start to support Brett Veach now too, and they're going to trust that that's what we have in Veach we trust Veach season, as I put together 4 or 5 years ago. That's all in existence because of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce backing him up. At the same time, though, Trevor, you know what this also does? Creates pressure for Brett Veach. Because while these guys are out here saying these things, you know what this is doing? This is showing support for Brett Veach, but it's also saying, hey, Brett, you better nail it. Yeah. You better go out there and draft your ass off. You better go out there and get key free agents. That money that we're saving you better give it to guys like Chris Jones. You better go and sign guys that we know they're going to be needed in November, December, and January, and hopefully February. So it's taking certain pressures off Brett Veach, but it's also adding certain pressures on Brett Veach. All in all, I love this situation, man. I never thought, Trevor, in my wildest dreams, we'd be sitting here talking about things like this with our team. Yeah. One of the most irrelevant franchises, good but never great franchises. Never had the sizzle, the pizzazz, never had the cool guys on the teams. It was always like a bunch of really solid, nice guys, and we'd win 10 games and lose in the first round of the playoffs if we had a really good season. Now, the Chiefs have two of the biggest superstars in the entire NFL. It is the premier team franchise in the NFL, and to see the way that these guys are working together to keep this bad boy running, to keep this bad boy together, couldn't be happier, couldn't be more excited. Trevor, what was your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes' contract and the whole situation altogether?
Yeah, I mean, so this is basically the opposite of kicking the can down the road. This is, giving him an early bonus of
this is run up and grabbing the can.
Yeah. So this is exactly. So we're collecting the cans and putting them in a dumpster right now. We're getting ahead of it. So, I mean, it makes sense, and it definitely, the timing of it I think confirms that they were waiting on the Chris Jones situation to be taken care of, because I think they were wanting to do this the whole time, and this might have been why they weren't willing to give Chris the money they wanted to. They wanted to take care of Pat first, which makes sense. Maybe next year they'll figure something out for Chris, maybe in a similar structure, maybe a longer-term deal, but who knows? A lot of people think this is it for Chris Jones. I'm kind of on that boat as well right now. That could definitely change. But as far as this contract goes, I mean, this is a no-brainer for me. I mean, we've seen all these other quarterbacks, the Daniel Joneses and the Burrows and the other guys getting paid, Deshaun Watson's contract, all these guys that are making crazy money, making that much more than Pat at the moment. They needed to kind of right that ship and make him feel, that he is prioritized. So giving him, and I think this is a future move, like we discussed on our group chat at times. I said that I think this is a move that opens up more more space down the road to bring in new bodies, maybe whether it's free agency moves or paying guys and giving guys extensions down the road that deserve a new contract. So there'd be less money on the books for Pat later on in the next 3 to 4 years. So he kind of absorbs a lot of that now. So I think a lot of that makes sense for this. Is, like I said, it's a dynastic move. Yeah, doing this was a dynastic move because right now we have a lot of youth on this team, so Pat can absorb a lot of that money now. Take a lot of his capital from what he could get in the future now, and that opens up things later on. For some of these guys that are rookies or 2-year guys right now that are going to need contracts, or if we're willing to give them a contract, they can get one. So I think this is a team-friendly deal. It may not look like it because it's a lot of money. Yeah, it looks like we're overpaying for him. This has nothing to do with Chris Jones. outside of what this team prioritizes, which this team obviously prioritizes its quarterback more than it does Chris Jones. Chris Jones is definitely high on the list, but Patrick Mahomes, a 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, is the guy you're going to prioritize and make sure he's sitting nice. Even though Chris Jones, since he came back, has looked like the best player on the team. I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy is incredible.
Who saw that coming?
Man,
wow.
Yeah, let's trade him. But yeah, I mean, this is just a smart business move, obviously, and it's more team friendly than people think. Like I said, people see the numbers like, oh, Pat's taking all the monmoney. No wonder he's taking all the money from Chris. No, this is already the money that's on his contract. They're just moving it forward, giving it to him early. It's like an early, basically just an early bone. They're just moving some money from down the road up to him now. That's all they're doing. Just to kind of make it right in comparison to the quarterbacks and what his that are amongst his peers, so he can be getting paid around what they're getting paid and that and much more. So, yeah, man, there's not really much to add outside of what you said and what I've said already. Pat's more than deserving of this money, more than deserving of the early raise he's gotten. So. Yeah, he's going to be our guy for the next 10-plus years. So, I mean, It makes all the sense to me.
Like I said, there's not much really to say about it. Like I said, I think there's some people out there that have taken kind of the tea leaves of just seeing the raw numbers and hearing that it's a bump in pay, and they get worried about what that means moving forward. And I wanted to dedicate 20 minutes of the show to let people know, like, look, guys, this is in no way going to harm the team. Patrick Mahomes is a guy that genuinely believes what he says when he says he wants to help the team win, but he also knows what he's worth. That's the biggest thing, guys. There's no logical sense in having Patrick Mahomes sit there at the 8th highest paid player in the NFL. That makes no sense at all. We all know this guy is the best player in football, therefore he should be paid that way. But it also shows that he's looking out for the next guys in line. One day Caleb Williams is going to be in this league, and one day Caleb Williams is going to be looking for a fat-ass contract. And if Patrick Mahomes takes less, if Joe Burrow takes less, if Lamar Jackson takes less, if Jalen Hurts takes less, that doesn't set Caleb Williams up to make that bank-breaking money. So you have to continue to take that next big paycheck. And that's what Patrick Mahomes was in line for. And like I said, guys, all this is doing is just moving the money up. This isn't adding more money to the contract. It's just moving it up, essentially voiding those last 3 years of the deal. And so that way the Chiefs will restructure it in 2026, and we'll see another humongous contract come about, because I think at 2026, Patrick will be 30, 31 years old, just in the prime of his career. That's when you're going to see that next contract come to fruition, guys. So just wanted to ease your guys' minds, because I know that's something we like to do out here, is we like to freak out and speculate on things. But guys, trust me when I say Patrick Mahomes is going nowhere, and neither is the winning ways of the Kansas City Chiefs. Something else I wanted to talk about that I know was a hot topic, hot button. A lot of people reacted to me, obviously in a very negative way from what I was saying. So naturally, when that happens, I like to bring it up on the show, Trevor, because damn it, I'm all about controversy. Not intentionally. It's not that I put stuff out there to get people pissed off. It's because my opinions tend to piss people off. That's okay. That's something that happens in life, especially when you have a platform that people care about. And that is something that I had to do this week. So we saw that going into this Chiefs-Bears matchup, that we had Kadarius Toney on the injury report again. This time it's for a toe. I've heard speculation it could be turf toe. If that's the case, then he's in some big trouble, because turf toe is something that can even end people's seasons. I don't believe that's going to be the case. I do believe that Kadarius Toney will probably give it a go this week. He did practice on Friday. That's obviously a great sign.
Limited, yeah.
So I think he was a limited participant. Sure, give the detail there, but I do think he's going to try to give it a go. I think Kadarius Toney is a guy that loves football. I do believe he wants to be out there and help this team win. He has done that in the past. But, when Trevor and I have even had our spirited debates on this show about Kadarius Toney in particular, and a lot of you have said in response to me when it comes to a tweet that I had a couple days ago when I said, Kadarius Toney's been on this roster for almost a whole calendar year, and I still have no idea what he means to this team. Because we've heard that he's supposed to be a wide receiver 1. We've heard that he's going to be a guy that's making big plays. We've seen him do certain things in other areas, and I still don't know what his actual meaning is for this team yet. I want to find out, can't wait to find out, and I hope it's for great things. But I don't know. And the thing that people continue to bring up to me is, when I say something like that, is, well, he had an epic punt return in the Super Bowl. 62-yarder, set the Chiefs up, I think, on the 5-yard line. The next play was a touchdown. That's all true. I'm not taking that away from the man. That was an amazing play. Trevor and I absolutely loved it. We were watching that game together. Went nuts. It was awesome. Historic Super Bowl play. The Chiefs didn't trade for Kadarius Toney to have an epic punt return in the Super Bowl. That was a bonus. They've sold him. They, as in the Chiefs, have sold Kadarius Toney as a wide receiver one in the making. And now we're sitting here once again talking about two things with Kadarius Toney. Injuries, and now I'm seeing a plethora of Chiefs fans suggesting that maybe the Chiefs try to trade him. See what they can get out of him. And you wonder why I have been so hesitant, guys, in buying into him and the hype that's surrounding him. And let's make something abundantly clear, Trevor. Kadarius Toney is a top 10 wide receiver talent in this league. This man has supreme talent. I have never once negated that, downplayed that, dismissed that, or scoffed at it. But as I said this after the Twitter DM drama with the Giants fans, I can't consider him a legitimate wide receiver one when he displays inconsistencies in both his physical and emotional health, and both continue to play a detriment in his development. I want the kid to succeed both for his own gain and for the gain of the Chiefs that put their faith in him to elevate this offense. But now it seems there's a chance he's going to miss his 4th regular season game in just 13 regular season games with KC this week. That is concerning to me, Trevor. If the Chiefs had a veteran wide receiver one in place, and yes, I'm going to go there real quick. If they had a veteran wide receiver in place, the pressure and expectation for KT to develop into that reliable wide receiver the Chiefs need wouldn't be as present, or at least not as much. That's not the reality, though. The Chiefs have told us it's him. Fans have echoed those sentiments. But is it true? This is why I said earlier that even after nearly an entire calendar year, we still don't know what he is to this team and what he means to this team. Outside of that awesome punt return and a perfectly schemed play called Corn Dog, what has KT brought to the equation other than hope? Had he been some undrafted free agent, I get why my words would seem unfair. The Chiefs gave up multiple picks to bring him in. Didn't bring in a veteran difference maker wide receiver this offseason, and there's no reason to think that they're going to during the season. He's supposed to be the guy. The standard is different for Kadarius Toney. My expectations for him this season are far greater than any other wide receiver on this team, as they should be. I can fully support the idea of being patient, but the Chiefs didn't build their wide receiver room to allow him time to be one of the guys. My worry is that KT will never be more than what he's been so far. Supreme talent that remains untapped. When healthy, when focused, KT can be as deadly as he wants to be in this offense. But we're nearly a full schedule worth of games into the KT era, and we're still waiting for that to occur. Look, Kelsey fills the void while the wide receivers learn their roles, but we know that in the Mahomes era, the entire Mahomes era, there's always been a reliable wide receiver beside Kelsey. That's not the case at this time. Which is, to me, the biggest reason for their early season struggles to score. And I have to address this, Trevor, because I do believe this is the biggest reason why they're struggling offensively. It isn't because Eric Bieniemy left for DC. I have to say it, okay? I have to say it.
Yeah.
When Doug Peterson left to be the Eagles head coach, the Chiefs offense didn't drop off. When Matt Nagy left to go to the Bears, the offense didn't drop off. Eric Bieniemy, who I loved and admired and respected, and he did his damn thing here in Kansas City, and you're seeing what he is up there in D.C., and I am so proud of what he's done with Sam Howell. He's turned Sam Howell into Sam Wowell. I mean, that offense is clicking, man, and they have a chance to beat the Bills this week. But his absence is not why this offense is struggling, guys. Chris Jones was gone, and the defense stepped up because the defense has proven commodities at all 3 levels. The Chiefs' offense doesn't. That's the difference. When an absence of a great player or a great piece to your equation is gone, if you have the pieces that can suffice for a week or two, you will see that unit continue to flourish. But when you don't have proven commodities at wide receiver, Sometimes it looks like a coincidence that you lose your offensive coordinator and you don't have that proven commodity. Patrick Mahomes is struggling to find a reliable option, so much so that he's relying on guys like Justin Watson, that I'm going to talk about in a minute. This is the problem. This is why they're struggling to score. It is not because of Eric Bieniemy being gone. Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and this stellar offensive line will do enough to score points, and I do expect this team to repeat, Trevor. I've not budged on it. I do fully expect that the AFC is going to go through Kansas City, and I do believe this team's going to win their third Super Bowl in 4 years. But my worries about this wide receiver room have gone nowhere. And until someone in that room consistently steps up, that's not going to change, Trevor, and I hope it's Kadarius Toney. We've seen some promise from Sky Moore. I think he's going to build upon what he did last week against the Jaguars. But Sky Moore isn't supposed to be the guy yet. It's supposed to be Kadarius Toney. That's why they traded for him after drafting Sky Moore.
Two totally different players with different roles, but yes.
So that's where I stand on this right now. I know people have been crushing me for my take on Kadarius Toney, but I think it's fair and balanced, man. I want this kid to succeed, but I don't know what he is to this team yet. And I got to see this man step up, man. He's got to avoid these injuries. He's got to avoid these emotional outbursts on social media to people that should not matter. Get your head straight, bro. Get your body straight and go out there and flourish. You have the best opportunity in the world. You're playing with Patrick freaking Mahomes, man, to quote our guy Shaggy Shane. You're with Patrick. He trusts you. He's targeting you. Go out there and kick some ass, dude. That's where I stand on this, Joe. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I'm big on KT. I love him. I love his skill set. I love what he could possibly be for this offense. He is that McCall Hardman, Tyreek Hill role. He's that... I hate the word gadgety. I hate that word in the NFL. I mean, it feels like it's a downgrade on like what these guys actually are as a talent. I think he's a receiver that's capable of doing everything. I think gadgety players should be looked at as a promotional type of deal because he can do more than just run routes really good. He can do more than just create separation. He can do in-round plays. He can run the ball. He can catch it in the slot. He can be thrown out wide. He can do everything. It's just a matter if he can stay in the field. That's the biggest issue with him. And look, I'm his biggest fan, and I'm rooting for him every week. And I had him scoring 2 touchdowns last week, and he was only on the field for like 30% of the snaps.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. It's because he's not healthy. You know what I mean? So if he does play this weekend, he's going to be on a snap count again. I'm almost positive. But when he's on the field, he is the number one target. Even when Kelce was out there, he was the number one target when he was on the field. They were trying to do everything they could to get him the ball, and he was looking good. He ran into a guy. This execution has been the biggest issue for this offense right now. And let me just say something about to bring back the EB point.
Yeah.
I love Eric Bieniemy. I love what he's doing in Washington. I knew that was going to be a great signing from the jump because I'm actually a Sam Howell fan, so I loved that pairing with another mobile quarterback who can create plays on with his feet similar to Pat. So I figured he'd have fun with him. Love what they're doing over there. The play calling hasn't changed in Kansas City. The play calling hasn't changed. The execution's been bad. We haven't executed well when we are without McCole Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster. So execution's going to take a step back because we have guys that are still learning the system in ways. Sky Moore's never going to be a number one receiver. Kadarius Toney's supposed to become that prototypical number one receiver, and we've been having a rookie on the field a lot. The play calling has been the same. And I've been hearing people talking about, Eric Bieniemy would have been running the ball. No, he wasn't. We barely ran the ball that much last year. We were griping about running the ball more last year. The play calling has been the same. Yeah. There's a lot of jet sweeps. We were getting too cute a lot last year too. We were not good on short yardage last year too. Nothing's changed, guys. It's just the execution has been bad. Everything was exciting last year when we were executing and the plays were working. We're doing a lot of the same plays this year. And a lot of it has Andy Reid's fingerprints all over it. So can we just stop with the comparison and trying to make Nagy sound like the bad guy here or make Bieniemy sound like the guy that we need? A lot of this is Andy Reid's plays. It's just the execution's been bad. And that's all the way around in the offense. I just wanted to say that real quick. But back to Kadarius Toney. I think when this guy is healthy, he's going to be an absolute weapon for this offense. It's just a matter of if he will be able to do that. And that right now, that doesn't seem likely. I think he has more of a chance not to play this week than he does to play.
Right.
And that sucks for me because I want to see him go off. And I think this is a big blow-up spot in this game that we'll get to. But I have a feeling that we won't necessarily need him this week. So maybe giving him this week to kind of rest up that toe it's a sprained toe is what they're calling it. Hopefully it's not turf toe. I really hope not. But it's always some little lingering thing. But if it's something he can play through and it's just a pain tolerance thing, fuck it, man. Go out there and play football. That's what this game. You're gonna have pain tolerance issues the whole rest of the way. Everybody's dealing with that shit throughout the year. Pat just won a Super Bowl with one foot. So, yeah, he's got to get it right. I think he's got it up here, too. I think he's a very smart guy. I mean, from day one, Travis Kelce was talking about how he's a high IQ guy, let alone the physical gifts and what he can do with his body. I mean, the guy is agile and can make so many dudes miss. Yep. We saw that with that punt return. Yep. You know, his ability to make guys, he's so shifty. Not the fastest straight line guy, but he is so shifty. He's tough to get down when he has that ball in his hands. So I still love him this year. I think he's going to be the most productive receiver for this team this year, barring health. I do think Sky still takes that next step. I think building on that performance from last week is a big deal, and that could very much carry over into this week. It's another great spot for Sky Moore. There's no one that can beat that can. If they go man press on him, it's going to be a mistake every time. So, yeah, your Kadarius Toney take though. If he's on the field, we all should expect him to be the wide receiver one because that's what they promoted him as, and we all should expect great, not good. Great production from Kadarius Toney when he's on the field. And they've shown that they've tried to get him that. Like I said, every time he's on the field, they are force-feeding him that ball because they know what he's capable of. And I want him to prove that to people, but he's yet to do it, and it's pissing me off because I see it. I know what he's capable of. I watched his tape in Florida. The dude is an absolute playmaker.
Right.
And that's why Veach was bought in. That's why Veach wanted to draft him. He was on his draft board. We didn't get him because he went too early. But I do believe in him still, and I believe in his skill set, and I believe his skill set is absolutely a perfect marriage for this offense. We've seen guys like McCall Hardman thrive. We've seen guys like Tyreek Hill. He's like a mesh between the two of those guys. Yeah. Obviously not as explosive as Tyreek, but he's very crafty like Tyreek and very deadly with the ball in his hands. And he can do all the jet sweep stuff similar to what McCall was doing. So the ceiling is still very high and untapped for Kadarius. It's just please stay on the goddamn field, man.
And even if he does end up playing this week, I tweeted this out as well. Because I'm with you on the whole volume side of things, and it's been proven through the way the Chiefs have been playing offense so far, even with the lack of success.
Well, quite frankly, they need him.
Yes,
they need his production.
Exactly. This is why I've been saying, guys, that I'm not rooting against him. Like people think that I take these like personal vendettas with players. No, I'm a reactionary person. When I'm being told by the team and by all of you watching, listening, whatever you're doing. Yeah. You're telling me for months this guy's supposed to be a justifiable asset, so much so that you don't go and improve your wide receiver room by outsourcing? That tells me I'm supposed to put standards on this guy. So my standards are go out there, be a reliable asset. Because the Chiefs did not replace Juju Smith-Schuster. They didn't even replace Tyreek Hill. They won a Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill, so that makes us all feel better about it. But make no mistake about it, guys. Patrick Mahomes' job was much more difficult last year than any other year previous because he didn't have a cheat code out there running routes. That's what Tyreek Hill is. Yep. Make no mistake about it, guys. Travis Kelce's job has gotten significantly more difficult. This is why I was saying all offseason that I wanted the Chiefs to take the wide receiver room as seriously as possible because I don't know about you, but I want to see Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce be a duo for years to come. Even though Travis is a little bit longer in the tooth, we've seen tight ends play for a longer period of time. Do you know why Tony Gonzalez played into his late 30s? Because he had Julio Jones and Roddy White in Atlanta. That made his job a lot easier, guys. He had a lot more one-on-ones with linebackers and safeties.
And a hell of a running game, too.
And a hell of a running game. Thank you. So that is what the Chiefs need to start doing around. It's not that I think I know better than these guys, but it's common sense. Look at Jason Witten. Why did he play so long? That dude wasn't even as good. Nowhere near the athlete Travis Kelce is. That man played till he was almost 40. Because why? They had Dez Bryant. They had all these other awesome weapons around him that made his job easy. What I want to see is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce's jobs become easier as they get older, not harder. And right now, it's never been harder for them. Could it still work? Yes, and I expect it to. But I don't want Patrick Mahomes to have back-to-back seasons of, you saw the video, Trevor, after the Super Bowl when he has his belt on his shoulder and he sits down. Patrick was exhausted. Yeah. He's carrying around a dead leg. He was carrying around a team, and that was with Juju. And that was a wide receiver room that he had to carry. Travis Kelce had to be healthy all season. You can't expect that as he gets deeper into his 30s, man. This is what I was saying all offseason. So Kadarius Toney, if in fact he can become that guy, that changes everything. The clouds part, And then all of a sudden, Patrick Mahomes has a reliable weapon outside of Travis Kelce, and this offense becomes that much deadlier again. Because I agree with Trevor. There is Tyreek factors and specialties to Kadarius Toney's game. Tyreek's one of one, but you see glimpses of it. You see sparks of it, like, damn, that dude in open space is deadly. We got to see that on the field, guys, and the biggest thing is availability and being able to, like I said, to keep your brain focused. Who gives a damn about Giants fans in your DMs? Yeah. Who cares about the Giants? You're with the Chiefs, brother. Yeah. You're in a much better situation. The grass could not be greener. So quit focusing on the past, worry about where you're at now, and get your crap together, man. Do your job and flourish. Like I said, you already got a ring. Keep doing it. You can get yourself into the Hall of Fame, dude.
Could
There's
not
so
be in
many
a better
things,
situation.
Dude. Exactly.
A young receiver that hasn't really gotten his shot to be the guy in the NFL yet. There's never been a better situation for him in his life, and I just hope he doesn't squander it because I'm a big fan of him. Even as a person, I know he's a young kid still.
Sure.
But I think this isn't the same situation as like the Tyrann Mathieu situation. Tyrann Mathieu was very much set in his ways of who he was.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not saying that he needed guidance as a grown man. He's going to be who he is and what he is with the social media shit that he was doing. Drove us all nuts. I get it. But Kadarius Toney is in a great spot because we've seen guys evolve like Travis Kelce, a guy that was a very hot-headed, very mouthy, ignorant at times, to a fault of the team, getting costly penalties or stupid things, comments, in regards to refs and things that he probably shouldn't have said. Funny, but probably shouldn't have said.
Accurate.
Yes, but we've seen him shape up and become a great man in this league and become an absolute face of this league. So Kadarius Toney he's never going to have a better situation in his life as far as his job as an NFL player. So hopefully that rubs off on him and he becomes a model player for this team and an eventual leader and an impactful player for this team.
Well, let's go ahead and segue from that exact point you're making, what we've been talking about with Kadarius Toney, the wide receiver room as a whole. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and segue right into the Chiefs-Bears preview. So, look, guys, there's no mystery about this. And if you've listened to any talk radio, if you watched any television, when it comes to this matchup, it's a pretty open and closed case. Yep. The Chiefs are a substantially better team top to bottom than the Bears are. The Bears are an absolute mess. If you've followed any news sources for the last 48 to 72 hours, you've seen just the absolute shit show that is surrounding the Bears right now. From did they raid the defensive coordinator's house or not? Did they raid Hollis, whatever that place is called or not?
DC, yeah.
Why is their DC absolutely actually retiring? He says it's health. Is that true? Is it coincidental? Why isn't Eberflus talking about it? Says he has no updates on it. Why is Justin Fields so pseudo calling out his team when really he's just speaking the truth? Why is there all these issues with the effort on display from Chase Claypool? I mean, all the injuries and just one thing, the equipment, $100,000 worth of equipment was stolen out of the Chicago Bears facilities this week. Like,
the fuck is going on in Chicago?
Yeah, it feels like the Giants game against the Cowboys. Like, you couldn't make this stuff up. Like, how does this happen in such a short amount of time? Guys, I'm telling you, this is, without question, the perfect storm for the Chiefs right now. Because all the problems we're talking about what the Chiefs are dealing with offensively, could get right in a snap by playing a team like the Bears. Yes, if they go out there and drop 50 on this team, that doesn't mean that the Chiefs are an offense that can do that every single week. But what it does is it puts things on film for Andy Reid to see. And if he can see it out there this week against a team that is so inferior to the Chiefs, then all of a sudden brains start to brainstorm, and all of a sudden that momentum starts to carry on. Because like I said, I think Sky Moore's going to build on what he did against the Jaguars with the 3 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown.
If you're catching no-look touchdown passes from Pat, something's building.
Something's right. Yeah, something's going on. And I think he can build on that and do something this week with or without Kadarius Toney. It might be even a blessing in disguise if Kadarius doesn't play this week and Sky continues to get those kind of targets.
We'd love to see them both on the field at the same time. That's ideal.
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, that's what makes things so much better. But the opportunity the Chiefs have this week, like we know the defense is going to bring it.
Yeah, man.
The Bears have right now their starting left tackles now on IR. They have the worst or second worst offense in the NFL. They're trying the offensive scheme makes no sense right now around Justin Fields because we know the dude's a freak athlete.
They're trying to make him play like Jared Goff.
So what I'm expecting,
Like-
I am expecting them to kind of let him go loose this week. That's why, I don't know if you heard Andy Reid talk about Oladukin was on the practice squad quarterback. He was scouting as Justin Fields, and we know that Oladukin's a very
He's
mobile
going to be running
quarterback.
his ass off this week.
So, yes, Justin Fields is going to run a lot this week.
Yeah.
But with Chris Jones in place, with this defense clicking on all cylinders, I don't think Nick Bolton's going to play, but you're going to see why Drew Tranquill was sought after by Andy Reid this offseason, because Drew Tranquill's about to put on a show this week. So even though Nick Bolton's not going to play, and that does suck, the guy's 7th in the league in tackles since 2021.
Leo Chanel as well. Watch out
Leo
for my
Chenal,
boy.
and I don't know if you saw, man, but the grades that Leo Chenal got in pass rush. His pass rushing
His
ability's
upside
there.
is elite.
The Chiefs. What Trevor and I are trying to say here is the Chiefs defense is going to eat in this game.
Nice, yeah.
So that's not going to be a shocker. What we need to see in this game, because people have been asking and people have been speculating, Lance, do they need to win? Do they have to have sexy points? Do they got to show off? They got to do those things. It isn't necessary, but it has to be viewed as a get right game. Because the Chiefs would absolutely have to squander this game for them to lose it. I know everybody kept bringing up the Colts game from last year. Yeah, the Colts didn't beat the Chiefs that week. The Chiefs lost it. And this is why, Trevor, I don't know if you saw my tweet this week when it came to special teams, because as we know, special teams is what lost the Chiefs the Colts game. They lost multiple games last season because of their...
It's been an Achilles heel for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's been a real problem. People are like, well, what's going to happen if Kadarius Toney's not out there? What's going to happen now that Richie James is out? Who's going to return punts?
Yeah.
Guys, nobody. Go with me on it. I've been saying this jokingly to Trevor and people that watch games with us, but I am so serious now. Do not return punts. If you want to put a body back there, go ahead. Do not return punts. I have data to back this up, Trevor. So this week I took some time, and this took a fucking long time, but I actually went and researched it. So my stance on this is firmly that the Chiefs should fair catch and or let the ball bounce on every punt. That is my stance. You guys can drag me for it. I don't care. I got button numbers to back it up. Since 2020, Trevor, 3 seasons of evidence. The Chiefs have had 109 fair catches, punts downed, or kicked out of bounds. The Chiefs' offense scored on 53 of those 109 drives. That's 49%.
Damn.
In other words, the Chiefs' offense is scoring nearly half of the time despite getting nothing from their punt game. 0 yards. Nothing.
It's like the Tommy Boy quote, let it go.
Let it go. The Chiefs have had a plethora, as Trevor just said, and the sky is speaking to us as I say it.
God has spoken.
Yeah, he's raining down facts. The Chiefs have had a plethora of special teams issues over the last couple seasons, as Trevor just alluded to, especially in botched punts that have cost the Chiefs games, like the one everybody loves to reference in comparison to this game against the Bears with the Colts last year.
Yeah.
Remove the risk. Ensure the ball gets in Patrick Mahomes' hands and let him dictate the pace and outcome. I know it sounds nuts, but here's the thing, man.
I love a good dictatorship, man.
But we saw, and not to review the game, because this is our new rule now where we don't talk about the previous game. Yeah. Trev, Richie James had a ball bounce right off his freaking face, dude. Yeah. And it gave the Jaguars, not that it cost the Chiefs the game, but it could have. It put the Jaguars in the red zone.
Yeah.
The defense did their job, and the defense still held them to a field goal, which was amazing. But the fact remains, maybe the Chiefs wouldn't be so lucky next time. Because you saw what happened last time when Sky Moore botched the ball and gave the Colts life on the first freaking drive. The Chiefs were trailing 7-0 when they didn't need to be, and they lost that game by 4 points? 3 points? 20-17, whatever it was? Avoid the risk. I know Richie James was brought here to do that. That's
unless it's a short punt or something.
Unless it's something like that. My point is, Justin Watson's probably going to be back there this week.
Probably.
Justin Watson's not a punt returner. So don't even worry about it. I know it sounds silly. But what would you rather?
Or
adding the risk of botching the ball and giving a team like the Bears some life when they are very much desperate for it, with nothing to lose because they know their season's essentially over and they just want to play spoiler after week 2? Or you just make sure the ball goes to Patrick Mahomes and you just get the job done. I'm going to go with door number 2.
Would you feel a little more comfortable? Because I know there's Pacheco, a question mark heading into this game. What if they elevate Deneric Prince to return some kicks?
Kicks are different.
That guy's got
kickoffs
wheels.
are different. I didn't specify. I specified punts.
Yeah,
because punts are where the Chiefs have had real problems.
Sure.
So if you want to
do both, but
if
I'm
you want to
saying,
do a kick return, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's not a problem to me because, like I said, the Chiefs haven't had problems in kick returns.
Sure.
It's been punts specifically. So just avoid punts. And more honestly, we're being real, man. More times than not, the kick goes in the back of the end zone anyway.
True.
So yeah, if you want to put Deneric Prince back there, cool, awesome.
Yeah.
And I do think, and
That's if Pacheco don't play.
Well, a side note on this, I know I'm kind of bouncing around here, but I want to get this stuff out there and then get to your thoughts.
Yeah.
I think it'd be best the Chiefs just rest Pacheco this week.
Yeah.
Not just because they're facing an inferior opponent, but because the fact, Dan, that we know what his purpose is on this team.
It's a soft tissue issue.
Exactly.
If he goes in there and pulls the hamstring further, dude.
Then you're missing him for 7-8 weeks.
We already don't have good running back depth in my mind, in my personal opinion, because we have, a couple. Clyde's been okay, and then we have an older guy in McKinnon who seemingly we're saving for the latter half of the year.
This is what I said. Remember why I said I predicted that Clyde was going to lead the team in rushing for the first month?
Clyde could have a big day.
Because of these very reasons. Because Isaiah Pacheco came into the season banged up.
Yeah.
He's banged up now with another injury. It's like, guys, shelve him for a game you don't need him.
Yeah.
I understand we want to see Pacheco play. I love watching this dude play. But he's a violent runner. He's already hurt. And you're playing a team you can beat without question, without him.
I think 4 or 5 other guys can score this week.
Well, and if you look at the Chiefs, we've been talking about the schedule. Yeah. Over the next 6-7 weeks, the Chiefs have 3 divisional games. And I think 5 AFC games.
Yeah.
Those are games you want Pacheco in. And we clearly want him for the postseason run. So this, to me, just feels like a game you say, Pacheco, just sit, just chill, rest that hamstring for another week. Got the Jets in New York next week. We'll probably need you because that's a really good defense we're going to go up against. And it's a perfect situation, too, like I said, because this is a get-right game before you go on the road against an elite Jets defense next week.
Yeah.
This is a perfect timing for the Chiefs to do this. And like I said, getting an opportunity to see what you got in some of these other guys. If Pacheco sits, then Clyde's going to get his opportunity to prove himself. If he has a baller game,
great spot for him.
Clyde's earning himself a right to play more time. If P. Ryan gets brought up, if Prince gets brought up, and these guys shine in a game like this, they'll get more opportunity. And all of a sudden, you have a deep running back room. And that's what I'm saying. This is the kind of game I want to see that happen. So, real quick, Trevor, my 3 keys to this game I want to see the Chiefs utilize or do in this game, because I am very much confident the Chiefs are going to win this game.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here speculating on that. The Chiefs would have to, like I said, have a myriad of errors and injuries for them to lose this game to the Bears. The 3 things I want to see the Chiefs do in this game when it comes to getting right is what I've been saying since after week 1. The problem I had with how they game planned week 1. I want to see quick passes and quick plays to get these wide receivers in rhythm. Whether Kadarius Toney's out there or not, I want to see these guys getting the ball in their hands quick, because you saw in the Jaguars game, Sky Moore got the ball quick. He was getting the ball fast. He was getting in space. You were allowing him to create with his feet, and that is exactly what he did on that big, was it a 40-yard play? You got the ball in his hands in open space and let him create. Get this offense in rhythm. Give your offensive line an opportunity to protect. Now, they've been doing a great job, don't get me wrong. It's been honestly like the best offensive line in football so far. Give them a rest, too, because if you're going to throw the ball 40, 50 times in a game, that wears your offensive line down a lot faster than running the ball. Yeah. If you ask any offensive lineman out there, what would they rather do, run block or pass block, they're going to tell you run block, because they get to drive forward. They don't have to pedal back. So give those guys that opportunity. Like I said, 2-second drops, Patrick throws a slant. Get these guys in rhythm. Get their confidence in their hands. Don't let them be nervous. Let them go out there and flourish. My number 2, even without Pacheco, run the damn ball. Establish an honest run game. Yeah. Because I'm going to be real with you right now. I would be hard pressed to believe, Trevor, that any defensive coordinator that game plans against the Chiefs right now is looking at it like, we better make sure they can't run the ball. I guarantee it. They're not doing that with Pacheco, without Pacheco. They're looking at it as, okay, let's play a lot of zone, some press man. Let's force Patrick Mahomes to have to hold on to the ball and see if we can, do a stunt, a blitz here and there to see if we can't get that added pressure. That's what they're game planning.
Well, and if there's a strength on the Bears' defense too, their run defense it's not great, but it is definitely better than their secondary.
It's much better than their pass rush. They have 1 sack this year. Yannick Ngakoue. They're late.
They have some good
addition.
size up front though. There's some big boys on that defensive line, but they're not good at getting sacks at all. They're good at offense on the offense side. They're good at taking sacks, but. Their defensive line is not good at getting up the quarterback, but they are pretty good at stuffing the run. They have some big boys.
So this is an opportunity, like I said, a challenge for the Chiefs to establish a good run game against not a good run defense, but that's what their front seven's built more for.
Or just getting the running backs involved.
Yes.
Via the passing game, like you said, quick strikes, even screen game. That's Clyde's bread and butter. We've yet to see him really thrive in that environment.
Or get the opportunity.
I want to see it. I'd love to see Clyde eating the passing game this week.
Well, that's what like I said, I run a balanced attack, because also, I don't know if you how much people really know about this Bears team, because they're a very inept team altogether. Their secondary is extremely young and inexperienced. If you build a balanced run attack or balanced offensive attack
Their
against a team like
safeties
this.
suck.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They have a lot of young corners out there. Guys are banged up. Like Patrick Mahomes can pick his teeth with this secondary if he can utilize the RPOs and play actions a little
Maybe
bit more.
a big MVS game.
Yeah, draw the defense in, throw the deep ball, things of that nature. I think they absolutely need to do that in this game because I think that's how you get a get-right game going is when you have that balanced attack in rhythm moving into these AFC opponents. Like I said, the Jets next week in New York. I know Aaron Rodgers isn't there, but Quinnen Williams is.
Yeah.
C.J. Mosley is. Sauce Gardner is. Like, they have a very good defense up there, guys. That's not going to be a walk in the park for this offense. This is a perfect opportunity for them to get right. My third and final one, Trevor, and I'm going to get to you because I've been just running my damn mouth. Use Rashee Rice and Justin Ross for Christ's sake.
I mean, this is the spot to do it.
Trevor, I'm going to do a blind reveal real quick. Player 1 has 9 targets, 5 receptions for 107 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 fumble. Player 2 has 8 targets for 6 receptions, 55 yards with a touchdown, and 0 fumbles. Which one would you rather have?
Player 2.
Player 1 is Justin Watson, who everyone is telling me is the Chiefs' best wide receiver right now. Player 2 is Rashee Rice and Justin Ross combined. In other words, a rookie with 2 career games and a second-year player who's technically a rookie with 2 career games have been more productive in their limited opportunities than the guy that everyone's trying to tell me is the best receiver on the team right now. This is not a Justin Watson bashing session. This is me contextualizing to everybody out there that wants to tell me that Justin Watson is a proven commodity in this offense. Guys, this man has, right now, as it stands, 20 catches in 23 games with the Chiefs. That's not a guy you want to build your offense around.
He makes plays sometimes.
He does.
That's his.
Everybody's telling me, he knows the route tree. Things like, guys.
That's his resume for the
When we
Chiefs.
came in, Trevor, when we were coming into this offseason after celebrating a Chiefs Super Bowl and the draft was done,
Yeah.
who was everybody selling us on in the wide receiver room? Obviously, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore,
Yep.
Rashee Rice. Justin Ross is going to make the team. Remember, everybody was saying
Nobody
that.
was talking about Justin Watson.
Nobody was talking about Justin Watson.
Everybody's a slave to the moment because he's had a couple big
Trevor,
plays.
stop me when I name a wide receiver that Justin Watson is more talented than. Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, MVS, Justin Ross.
He's not more talented than any of these guys.
That's 5 guys right there.
Yeah. The upside is far more substantial with all the other receivers.
Look,
it's not even close.
Rashee Rice might be a rookie. He might be green. Justin Ross is definitely inexperienced.
Yeah.
These guys are far more talented. These guys are showing in a limited, look at 8 targets combined. They have 6 receptions and a touchdown. 9 targets for Justin Watson, only 5 receptions for 107 yards.
And they're on the field less than half of the amount of time he's on the field. So their target share is actually more substantial and more great than when they're on the field. Because when they're on the field, they're getting targeted. Especially like guys like Kadarius Toney. His target share when on the field is the highest of all receivers.
And Trevor, if the Chiefs had right now just one top-tier wide receiver, let's say Tyreek Hill never left, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Kadarius Toney and you had Sky Moore. Does Justin Watson see the field?
No.
Okay, so bring it to where we're at now. If we believe that 1 or 2 or 3 of these guys are legitimate, like they could become something special, why would you put Justin Watson out there ahead of them? If you want to see the next Tyreek Hill, if you want to see the next awesome receiver become something in this offense, why would you stunt the growth? Justin Watson is a guy. He's a dude that you have as your wide receiver 6. I don't want to hear, well, Lance, he's done this. No, guys, no, damn it. He's a fill-in. Play these guys. You drafted Rashee Rice in the 2nd round.
Yep.
You guys have been hyping Justin Ross up for 2 damn years. Let these dudes cook.
He is who he is.
Let these dudes cook. I'm not saying Justin Watson can't play on the team, even though I didn't have him making the roster. Right now, with Kadarius Toney's injury problems, things of that nature, it's unpredictable. Yeah, you have him on the team right now. Richie James is out, sure. But these other guys need more opportunities, and I feel that Justin Watson's getting in the way of that. Yeah. The Chiefs have a wide open room of wide receivers. Everybody keeps telling me these guys have what it takes. Let them go out there and prove it. And this is the perfect game for them to do so. There's no reason in the world why Rashee Rice doesn't get 5 targets in this game. There's no reason in the world why Justin Ross can't get 3 to 5. There's no reason. If we're going to throw the ball, if the Chiefs are going to throw the ball 40 times this game, I don't want to see Justin Watson getting more targets than these 2 guys in a game you should win handily.
Yeah. I agree. And the way and there's a guy, my guy, who I think is going to have a good game this week. who's been rising up in the ranks as far as the pecking order of targets and yards and so on. A guy I think is going to have more yards at the end of the year than Justin Watson, and that's Noah Gray. I think Noah Gray has a big game here. I think this is an easy spot for the tight ends to eat over the middle and and like on the quick curl routes and things like that. I think Noah Gray and Travis Kelce are gonna have a really good game here. This is a good spot for the tight ends in my mind. Terrible secondary, terrible safety core. Those guys, none of their safeties can contain our tight ends. This is a game where I can see Travis Kelce getting 2 and Noah Gray getting 1. I think 3 touchdowns can go to the tight ends this week. I think this is a blow-up spot for them. I think this is specifically a big spot for Noah Gray to kind of showcase his growth. And I think we've seen that gradually over the year. I think he's like 3rd in yards on the team right now.
I'll give it real quick.
Yeah.
He's 3rd in targets,
Yeah.
1st in receptions, 3rd in yards, 2nd in first downs, 4th in yards per reception, 2nd in yards per game, and 4th in catch percentage.
Was that going to be your guy this week too? I mean that's what I'm saying.
Hey,
Like, I just think
we're on the same page here.
Yeah. So this game. Listen, this is obviously as Chiefs Kingdom, we're always waiting for that letdown spot. The Chiefs' offense has been struggling so far through the first couple of weeks. This seemingly should be the blow up spot for our offense to get right. And we're facing a team that's 0-2 in the Bears, and they really don't want to go 0-3 because they know if they go 0-3, most likely their season is done. And they don't want that to happen, right? So they're a rat being cornered, and it's going to try to eat its way out. And that's always a team that has almost nothing to lose at a certain point. They're going to kind of do whatever they can to get a win, scratch and claw, and do whatever they got to do. And that could be no matter how talented the team is, that could be a tough team to put down sometimes because we're all men at the end of the day and we're all fighting for the same goal. But there's levels to this, right? There's tiers to this game, and the Chiefs are a handful of tiers above the Bears, coaching-wise, skill set-wise. I'm a big Justin Fields guy. I like him, and they've been misusing him. Even if they let him just kind of work and do his thing, it's just not going to be enough. I think this is an absolute blow-up spot for our offense finally to get on track. We've seen the Ravens start off rough this year and then have a pretty good game offensively against the Cincinnati Bengals and win that game. We've seen the Jags have a good offensive game in Week 1. We've seen the Chargers put up some points in some competitive games, not win, but their offenses looked good. A lot of these teams that were supposed to be good offenses kind of had their get-off game already this year outside of the Bengals. This is the Chiefs' chance to have a kind of a get-off game offensively. With or without Kadarius Toney, with or without Pacheco, this is a blow-up spot for Pat. I can see Pat going out there, slinging 5 touchdowns in this game. So not worried about this Bears defense whatsoever. A lot of distractions going on over there. Chris Jones is probably going to have a field day. Our defensive line is going to have a field day. So this is about as big a layup, I think, game we're probably going to have all year, if I'm being honest. According to our schedule, this might be the easiest matchup. A lot of people get scared thinking that this is a trap game. It's not. It's not. I think the trap game was the Detroit Lions Week 1. I think we all kind of were very confident, a little overconfident in our offense. It was kind of a letdown in the turnovers and drops. That was the game we kind of got out of our system as a letdown game.
The Chiefs, just for the record, games that the Chiefs are favored by double digits, I think in the Mahomes era, they're like 12-2.
Yeah.
So they don't disappoint.
Well, and we don't typically blow teams out. That's for some reason we don't like to cover the spread when we have a double-digit spread. We very rarely do.
Backdoor covers.
Yeah,
and
we
stuff
allow
like
that too much. Andy Reid takes his foot off the gas. But this defense is different this year. I think this defense is out here to prove a point this year, and I don't see a lot of backdoor points being scored this year. I mean, we could have allowed the Jacksonville Jaguars to do that. We could have allowed a lot of other plays to go the opposite way, and even when we had a lead. You know what I mean? So, granted, both the first 2 weeks were very competitive games. But I think this, like I said, I think this defense is out to prove a point this year and be a top 5 unit in this league, and I think they're on par for doing so. So, this should be a blowout, and if it's a blowout, I would not be surprised. But yeah, man, I think we go out there and Pat throws at least 4 touchdowns.
Well, to your point about the defense, real quick, points allowed by the Chiefs defense through the first 2 games since 2018. In 2018, they allowed 65. In 2019, they allowed 36. In 2020, they allowed 40. 2021, they allowed 65. 2022, they allowed 45. 2023, they've allowed 23. This is a different defense. It is. So I 100% agree with you on that. And a couple other factors I want to play into this before we get to our final thoughts on this game, Trevor, is Patrick Mahomes versus NFC opponents in the regular season is demonstrative. The team is 18-3. He completes 65% of his passes with 306 yards per game, 7.7 yards an attempt. 53 passing touchdowns to only 13 interceptions with a 103 quarterback rating with 453 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. So 55 total touchdowns in 21 games against the NFC. That is absolute domination. Also, this is the thing I'm looking at this week because I do believe this is a game, like you said, Trevor, just a get up and get off kind of game. Patrick Mahomes is only 228 yards and 4 passing touchdowns away from reaching 25,000 career passing yards and 200 career passing touchdowns. I think he's going to get that by half. Maybe not the touchdowns. Maybe he'll be like 3 and then have 1 left. But I do think the 228, he'll get to 25,000. And that'll be, was it 7 or 8 games faster than Matthew Stafford did, who has the highest or the quickest to ever get to 25,000.
Yeah, this is a game where he could throw touchdowns to like 4 different guys and then run one.
Yeah.
This is an absolute blow spot for Pat.
He could destroy fantasy leagues this week because I think this is what that
Break
game.
The slate.
And here's the thing, guys. Why I'm building my confidence on the Chiefs and why I do believe this is going to be a game they do win by a substantial margin. It's not just the Chiefs and how much faith that Trevor and I believe they're going to get things right on the offensive side. It's also the fact that the Bears have been horrendous in their last 12 games. Horrendous.
Yeah, I mean Baker cooked them, man.
They've not only lost their last 12 games, guys. They've lost those games by a combined 299 points.
Yeah, it's awful.
That's an average margin of 25 points per game. Most teams don't score 25 a game. They're losing by that. There's no reason or excuse why this game on Sunday should be close. I think the Chiefs need to take care of business and take care of it immediately. Charlie would be shocked if Chris Jones gets 2 or 3 sacks in this game.
Oh.
I really wouldn't be. And
Justin
this
Fields
is
has already
why.
been sacked 10 times.
And this is why I told people, even though Chris Jones missed week 1, he is still very much going to be in play for Defensive Player of the Year. Because I think he's actually going to. I actually think he's going to have a career high in sacks this season. Because Charles Minhu being out, it's going to be more on Chris Jones. And you saw the way he was against that Jaguars offensive line, which is substantially better than this Bears offensive line.
Yeah.
If he can wreck shop like that again in games like this and capitalize on bad offense, because look at it, the next 3 weeks, Trevor, Chris Jones has 3 of the worst offensive lines to feast on.
Should have 3 sacks last week.
You have the Bears offensive line, you have the Jets offensive line, and then you have the Vikings offensive line. And who's to say what even the Vikings are playing for at that point? So Chris Jones, man, could get 6, 7, 8 sacks within a 3-game schedule, and then all of a sudden you're looking at it like, dude, this guy's on pace for 20-plus sacks. Just do not be shocked if we're sitting here, guys, in 11, 12 weeks from now, and Chris Jones is flirting with a record. Do not be shocked. I know Micah Parsons right now is the favorite. I know T.J. Watt is a madman, and I actually picked him for my Defensive Player of the Year. I know Nick Bosa and Myles Garrett and all those other guys are always going to be at the top because they're defensive edge rushers, they're outside linebackers. I get it.
And they've all got a game on them.
But, guys, Chris Jones is coming for that. I'm telling y'all, man, do not be shocked.
Incentives.
Do not be shocked if Chris Jones finishes this season with 18 to 20 sacks. Because I think it's going to happen. I just think he's going to feast on these bad offensive lines. Because the Broncos' offensive line's been bad. He faces them twice.
Horrible.
Chargers' offensive line's been bad. They faces them twice. They got some really bad offensive lines this year, man. They're going to be facing. So I think Chris Jones is going to terrorize this league, and he does it again this week. Trevor, I don't know if you have your key players. I know we already mentioned Noah Gray, so that's kind of one for us. I think that he'll definitely be a guy. I think I predict him to have over 500 receiving yards this season, be top 5 on the team. I don't think that's going to stop at all. I think Travis Kelce's going to I think the tight ends are going to have big games this week.
Yep.
I definitely think that Travis Kelce and Noah Gray will combine for 150 yards and probably a couple of tutties.
Yep.
So Noah Gray's one of my guys, and I think that's probably one of yours as well. Do you have another player on your list?
I do think MVS has a very big blow-up spot here, potentially.
Okay.
I think he should. If there's any game he's going to absolutely eat downfield on the perimeter, I think this is absolutely the game to do it because they do not have the secondary to contain his speed. Even if he's getting one-on-ones, just run.
Yeah.
And Pat can hit him downfield. Granted, there might not be a big necessity for us to go out there and have big chunk plays like that over and over again because I don't think we're going to be chasing points by any means.
Yeah.
So we can probably just go out there and just be methodical and dink and dunk our way to 50. But I think this is a really good chance, especially if Kadarius Toney's out. A big chance for him to have a chance to be looked at more downfield and maybe even over the middle a little bit. If they mix him up and use his height to take advantage of that terrible secondary. So he's another guy I think to take note of. And then defensively, I don't know if you want to go defensively yet. Defensively, I think this is a good chance for Furious George here to have another get-off game. He's looked so good so far in the year. I think they're going to focus everything they can to slow Chris Jones down. This is an every week thing for every team we play. But I think George has really taken that. He's looked a little faster this year too, a little more aggressive. Like he's building on his performance from last year. I think this is because we know how much Justin Fields holds onto that ball for far too long. Even if he starts taking off a little quicker and goes through his progressions quicker and takes off, I think George is quicker than people realize. I think George could get to him. And I think George is in a spot here where he can rack up a couple of sacks in this game. So I think everybody on this defensive line can eat this game. So any one of these guys could pop off. I think Leo Chenal can absolutely have a ridiculous game this week too. With Nick Bolton being out, I think his snaps are going to be maybe the highest of his career in this game. So yeah, I like George Karlaftis here.
Yeah, so Noah Gray is my offensive guy. Defensively, sometimes I'll have two guys on the same side of the ball, but this week will be one of each. Trevor, I'm going to stand pat on what I said about Drew Tranquill.
Yeah, man.
I definitely think he's going to show
His
Kansas
leadership.
City, why Andy Reid we know Andy Reid every once in a while does this, where he'll go out and seek a guy out by himself personally, and he did that this offseason. He texted Drew Tranquill, hey, see red.
Well, we played against him 4 times, so I mean,
For multiple years.
Yeah.
For what, 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So this guy is, and it's perfect for Drew Tranquill to do this because obviously you don't want to ever see Nick Bolton go down with an injury. Nick Bolton's an insanely valuable commodity for this team.
he'll be back.
Yeah, like I said, he's 7th in the league in solo tackle since 2021.
We don't need him this week, man.
Yeah, it's stupid what he's done with his career so
Yeah.
far. But this is the week where Drew Tranquill shows, like, I am that guy that Andy Reid wanted, and on a 1-year, $5 million deal, I'm about to get paid this offseason by somebody. I'm going to help this Chiefs team win another Super Bowl, and then I'm going to go out there and get myself a 3 or 4 year deal, and I'm going to get paid. And he's going to prove that in this week because, like I said, if there's ever a week for Drew Tranquill to line one up and have himself a baller game, it's against a bad team like this and Nick Bolton out of the way. No offense. I mean, I'm not saying that like Nick Bolton's out of the way. I'm saying now there's no availability of Nick Bolton. You get your opportunity to step, like I always say, next man up.
Yeah.
Drew Tranquill's about as good as it gets when it comes to next man up.
Yeah.
This dude is an awesome linebacker that's a jack of all trades. I think this dude's going to have an interception.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do
I was
something
gonna say
awesome
pick
in this
six
game.
would be
Yes, I think
awesome.
something awesome is going to happen in this game with Drew Tranquill. Either way, I think the Chiefs defense is going to force multiple turnovers in this game. I think they're going to, like I said, a strip sack from Chris Jones. I think maybe Drew Tranquill recovers that one and runs it in. Something like that's going to happen. Drew Tranquill, Chris Jones, guys like that. I agree. George Karlaftis, who's looked like an animal. FAU, who's been an absolute animal. Mike Dana, an unsung hero.
Bro.
He's been awesome this
Dog.
season. You contract year, baby. They're
Yeah.
undefeated, baby. Like this dude's in the prime of his year, 26, 27 years old now, getting that opportunity to really shine in a defense that's looking like an elite defense. I think
Just
right
wait
now,
till we get a minute, man.
bro, I think this is the best defense in the AFC. I think this is
I'm
the
getting
best.
there.
I
I'm getting there.
think, dude, think about it. Like,
I'm getting there with you and Nick. You and Nick. I'm getting there.
and
with you.
I'm glad that you said that because Nick said it after. People think I try to copy what Nick says.
No. Yeah, you said it to me off air numerous times before that show even came out.
I'm telling you guys right now, this is a special unit, guys. Like, I'm not supposed, like, people think I'm being a homer. And it's so funny. Like, I get called a hater and a homer in the same time. But like, when I talk about this defense, guys, think about it. You face two top 5-ish, top 10-ish offenses that scored 31 the game before, the game after playing the Chiefs. They allow one legitimate touchdown in both games combined, and I'm not supposed to think this is the best defense in the AFC. Like, all respect to the Browns, all respect to the Jets. Those are badass defenses. Steelers, there's good defenses in the AFC, really good defenses. But there's nobody that's played at a higher level than the Chiefs, especially when you consider the competition.
Are Vikings fans homers when they say that Justin Jefferson's the best receiver in the league?
Right. It's like sometimes you can give the flowers, guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can just give the
It's okay.
flowers. The Chiefs have the best defense in the AFC right now, and I stand by that. And they're going to once again show it this week, but you can't say it's because of the opposition, because they put a dominant performance against the Jaguars. They played more than good enough to win that game against the Lions. Guys, I'm telling you right now, this defense is not – I'm calling him Steve Bagnolo for a reason. He's in his bag.
Been on one this year.
He's in his bag. And I know our people at Big Charlie's is happy about that because he's a big-time family member out there.
Shout out Big
Shout out to Big Charlie's out there. Love you guys. Guys, I'm telling you, this is Steve Spagnuolo's. This is his prime time. This is the best defense he's ever had, and it's perfect timing too because and I will give Nick Wright credit for this one. He said it before me. This is now allowing the Chiefs to figure out who they have and what they have at wide receiver.
Yeah.
They're practicing within games. Nick Wright said that first. I'll give him credit.
We can afford it. We can afford
Yes,
some
because
time
you have
to grow.
Yes, and now that Chris Jones is back in the fold, the defense is clicking on all cylinders. You get an opportunity to say, okay, We can take a few weeks, first 4 or 5 games, figure it out, and by November we're going to be humming.
Yep.
They're going to guys, I criticize the wide receiver room. I criticize what the Chiefs have done there, but I do expect them to figure it out because, like I told you guys, do not be shocked if the tight ends and running backs are just as up there in production receiving wise than the wide receiver room. I said that, and I think that Noah Gray is going to be up there.
No problem with that.
Jerick McKinnon's going to start turning it on. You're going to see some of these running backs and tight ends really start to click. Travis Kelce's obviously going to put up all pro numbers. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when the offense starts to figure it out. And when they do, this is going to be the best team in the NFL, and they're going to win the Super Bowl again. So I think this game's going to be a lot to a little, Trevor. I haven't come up with my score yet. Do you have a score yet or not? Or
Not really, but I'll say.
Do you think the Chiefs cover the 12.5?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we win like 40-21.
Okay.
There's no reason to. I mean, we've had numerous opportunities or numerous occasions where we've had spots we thought would be a blow up spot, but this one just seems, quite frankly, unfair. If I'm being honest, and the Chiefs, this is a get right game. Our offense hasn't clicked yet. This is a terrible spot for the Bears.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna leave it there. You guys know where we stand on this game. Very, very confident, about as confident as we have been all season in any match that the Chiefs have had to this point, and them taking care of business in this game. I think this is gonna be a blessing in disguise for the Chiefs, and I think they're gonna really find some stuff in their offense to start adding and start building towards making this offense a more prominent, scary offense that we know it can and will be. And so that's where I stand on it. But you know what, Trevor? We need it. Our people have been patient, man. We need to get to our people. Let's get to speak it. Whatever is going on in your guys' chats, guys, hit us up. If you're watching this right now, you're listening, hit us up, man. Let us know what you guys are thinking, what's your questions, what's your takes in the world of sports, in particular the Chiefs, and we'll get to you guys. What's going on, Trev?
Yeah, so first off the top, we have Carlos Ferreira. What up, Carlos? I wonder if this extension pisses off CJ.
If he's talking about the Patrick Mahomes one,
Yeah.
First of all, let me clarify, guys. This isn't an extension. This is a restructure. It's just moving money from the back years up to the front years. They're just basically throwing all that money up front.
Yeah.
And so this is not an extension. The extension will come in 2026 because the contract goes, I believe, until 2029, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a 10-year deal, so yeah, it would be 2029. They basically voided out 27, 28, and 29 and moved it up to 23 to 26. So it is not an extension, and no, I do not believe this is going to piss Chris Jones off because, as Trevor said earlier, which I would 100% agree with, this was the move they wanted to make originally so they could pay Chris Jones.
Yeah.
It opens up $2.5 million this year, which isn't obviously enough to pay Chris Jones, but it's going to move money around so they can start paying guys like Chris Jones.
It could possibly next year give us an opportunity to pay Chris Jones more.
Exactly.
Guaranteed money over the next 3 years.
Exactly.
So that could open up because we're front loading, we're pushing money towards the front for Pat. That opens up money down the road for Chris. So we could give him more guaranteed money next year.
And even if you put Chris out of the picture, just
Yeah.
let's say you don't even
Or
want to
tag him.
You don't even talk about Chris Jones right now.
Yeah.
Who are the players everybody keeps talking about? Like, well, if you pay Chris Jones, you can't play Creed Humphrey and Nick Bolton and Trey Smith. Yeah, actually you can now.
Yeah.
And they always could have.
Yeah.
But now it's even more, because like Trevor just said to that point, if next offseason you're paying Creed Humphrey and extending him and Trey Pancake Papa Smith, figure out with Nick Bolton what you want to do.
Yeah, there's some decisions.
But let's say they pay Creed and Trey Smith, right? All of a sudden, those contracts go deeper into 2027, 2028. And like you just said, the money for Patrick Mahomes gets moved forward, so you don't have to worry about all those guaranteed dollars in 2027 and 2028. The cap hit goes down, things of that nature, to where you can pay those guys later down the road.
Ironically, it doesn't look like a team-friendly deal, but in long term, it is.
It is,
Pat
guys.
knows what he's doing, man.
The Chiefs know what they're doing, too.
Pat is continually moving things around, shuffling things around to make this team better, to keep this team afloat and keep this dynastic run alive. It's similar kind of to what, I mean, I know Tom Brady didn't make this much money at that time, but Tom Brady definitely took
in comparison
less money or moved things around or took more money up front to extend things down the road for the team to continually bring in new guys.
100%.
You know, so
and you don't think, and now that we know the established relationship between Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, you don't think for a second that they're agents and they have gotten together and figured out, like, hey man, like how did you do it? How did you figure it out? You know what I mean? What did you do? So
yeah, Tom Brady has seemed like nothing but an open book since he's retired, man. I mean,
he's established.
I fucking hated Tom Brady as a player, dude, but I've done nothing but love the guy since he's been off the field.
Most successful player in the history of the league.
He's an entertaining bastard, man.
Patrick Mahomes will be there.
So we do have another comment. It's from my girl Daniela. She says, "How American football works." LOL, kidding. Love your podcast, guys. From Daniela. Shout out to my girl.
Daniela. Miss you.
Yeah, thank you for the comment. Let's see. MO Patriot. KT's best ability is not durability. Don't expect it to develop. Yeah, I mean, it's not a question, but I mean, I get it. I get the negative energy towards Kadarius Toney right now. But I'm telling you, once this guy gets it together, and this is me, this is some wishful thinking, of course, but I think he's going to make a lot of you guys happy, man.
Sure.
I think this guy's got a lot of explosive ability.
If I didn't think that he could become something special, I wouldn't be propositioning things the way I do. When people say stuff like that, I actually disagree with Mo Patriot on that, because I do believe that he can change. I do believe that he can find a string of health luck. I do believe that, because we've seen it in the league.
Yeah.
We look at it at a very more minuscule level. Justin Ross.
Well, he's a first-round talent for a reason.
What was I saying about Justin Ross, Trevor? Oh, this guy has a myriad of injuries. I don't know if he could ever keep it together. And what happens?
Yeah.
He makes the roster because why? He stayed available.
Yeah.
And he had far worse injuries than Kadarius Toney could ever dream of.
Spinal fusion, man.
Look at Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Steph Curry they were talking about he had arthritic ankles. And this was back when he was young in the league. Now this dude's one of the 15 at worst best players in the history of this league, because he found a way to be healthy.
The greatest shooter of all
But
time.
it has to be a want to. It has to be, I'm going to change my nutrition. Yeah. I'm going to work on my new regimen. I'm going to do these. I'm going to put the work in.
Well, and be dedicated. He also avoided getting, he took a lot of less plays driving through the paint and getting banged up, and he's become that much more of a shooter throughout his career as well.
But we saw Jerry Rice. Why did he play so long? Jerry Rice played so long because he avoided the big hits.
Darren Sproles.
LaDainian Tomlinson, Travis Kelce, Tony Gonzalez. A lot of these guys that have sustained health is they avoid the blow-ups. If Kadarius Toney can do that, well, like I said, maybe I don't know what his nutrition is, so I don't want to sit here and judge him. But let's say he's eating like a young guy, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe he changes his nutrition. Maybe he starts working on his body a little bit more because he's already a naturally great, gifted athlete. Yeah. Maybe he takes that a little bit more seriously, starts working with Patrick Mahomes more in the offseason, because we knew that Sky Moore did. We didn't really know how much Kadarius Toney really was. Maybe those things change. Maybe his health starts to change.
Well, and I'll say this too, also, just to get off this point.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney, all the injuries he has sustained have been different things. For me, that feels like a Keenan Allen kind of issue. Keenan Allen never had like one injury that kept happening. Yeah. He had that lacerated spleen.
He's had a couple hamstrings, though, I think.
He's had some hamstrings, but overall, those have never been like something that kept being like a reoccurring issue that has no pun intended, hamstrung his career.
Right.
It's a bunch of random things have happened. Some freak accidents has happened.
ACL tear.
Yeah. So with Kadarius Toney, it's not. I mean, he had the hamstring thing early on in his career, but that really hasn't been an issue since he's been a Chief. It's been like the foot, the ankle, little random, now the toe. He's had some like random things that are all separate, isolated injuries.
Yeah.
They're not like a lingering issue. So I think that's something to take as a positive, that moving forward he doesn't have something that's lingering. Hopefully this isn't turf toe, because that will definitely linger probably for the rest of the year, unfortunately. But they're saying it's a sprained toe, and I'm hoping he just maybe tweaked his toe on a route or something like that, or collided cleats with somebody.
Just for the record, I've never seen a guy get more hurt by juking himself. Like,
it is frustrating.
Like when I say he jukes himself in the medical tent, I'm not kidding. Like,
he's so agile, he hurts himself. He's so agile.
I even saw, and this is really not funny, but it is kind of at the same time, somebody said that Kadarius Toney put his house up for sale and it was a blue tent.
Jesus
Christ. I'm like, so I understand why people are starting to say like he's hurt a lot, so maybe he never will be the availability will never be a strong suit.
Sure.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
If he
young, man.
If he can play, 15
young.
games this season, which is still in play,
then
I will start giving him that credit. But Trevor, if he misses 6-7 games again, this is his third season. I'm like, all right, the dude's injury prone. Yeah. Like, we have to just accept it. I will then be with Mo Patriot on that.
I'll get there if he has if the hamstring keeps being a thing. That's when I'll call him injury prone, because he's just got a bad hamstring, and some guys have that for their whole career and they just can't get over it. Guys like Deontay Johnson, who's dealing with another hamstring in his career. They're saying things like that. But if that happens, then yes. But right now I'm taking the positive approach, and I think he's going to be a massive contributor to this offense. Next question is from Mika. Why is Mahomes targeting Justin Watson more than any other receiver? I see Ross, even Sky, getting open.
Well, let me give my theory right now, because obviously I can't argue with the fact of that being the case. Yeah. I think it's simply because of the fact that this is still so early in the season, that we know that the Chiefs, and this is the point I've been making all offseason, the Chiefs didn't have anybody that was a proven commodity in this offense, so much so that they gave Justin Watson a 2-year deal. Because they had to. It was a priority at that point. And also they didn't know if Justin Ross was going to make the team. They didn't know, what Rashee Rice was going to become if he developed into something this early in his career. But both guys have. Ross has made the roster. He's shown himself worthy in training camp and in preseason. And Rashee Rice has shown that he's ready for the big stage.
Yeah.
He's going to have growing pains and things of that nature, but he's not your typical Chiefs rookie receiver.
Yeah.
He's just not. He's showing he's
Scored
ready.
week 1.
He's ready for the moment.
Yeah.
And Sky Moore's starting to develop as well. Justin Watson's getting these reps and these opportunities because Kadarius Toney has still not been healthy, and the fact, like I said, you've not seen these other guys step up just yet or been given the opportunity to. Andy Reid, and I'm not telling him what to do because the man knows more. He could forget more football than I'll ever obtain knowledge-wise. But he needs to start letting the reins go a little bit with these young guys. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to work them into the offense. But, guys, if Justin Watson is leading your team in targets, if he's leading your team in yards, that's a problem. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Yeah. I will say that right now. I'm not trying to be Mr. Negativity, but Justin Watson under no circumstances should be your leading receiver in any category. He's not a good enough receiver to justify that. Patrick Mahomes can make the most of guys, but he still needed Travis Kelce to be healthy last season. He still needed Juju Smith-Schuster to be healthy last season. You still got to have guys. Even as great as you are, at the end of the day, you still got to have the dudes.
Yep. And I mean, why is Mahomes targeting Justin Watson more than any other receiver? Why don't we just be patient and wait? I mean, why don't we? It's week 3. Travis Kelce was out one of these games. He's played one game so far. Let this offense kind of start to mesh with Travis Kelce, in the middle of everything.
Exactly.
Let's see which one of these guys develops alongside Travis Kelce, because we all know Travis Kelce is the number 1 target in the passing game. We saw what Sky Moore did when Travis Kelce was immediately back. Had the play of the game in my mind, offensively. No look, back corner of the end zone, back shoulder throw from Pat. I mean, it was an absolute beautiful play, and Sky ran that route just flawlessly. Burned the dude on press coverage. Such quick feet. So it could be Sky. That could start to be something that develops more and more. Taking on that more Juju role, moving the sticks and being a guy when things get tight he can go to because he's so quick at beating man press or press man. Just be patient. Just like we just talked about a second ago with Nick Wright's quote, talking about the defense kind of giving a cushion to the offense to kind of figure out and develop which guy is the cream that rises to the top of this offense. It could be Rashee Rice. I mean, if anything, on the upside, and I love Kadarius Toney, but Rashee Rice has shown the most upside to me so far with the ball in his hands after the catch and already scored a touchdown in his very first NFL game. That's massive for a rookie, especially in Andy Reid's offense.
Right.
And him, and as far as Justin Ross goes and Rashee Rice, Veach straight up came out and said that those guys are package guys.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they're going to be package guys all year.
Right.
If Rashee Rice pops off the charts and becomes the guy, that could definitely happen. Or if Justin Ross pops off the charts and becomes like the outside of Kelce, the red zone target, which I hope he becomes because his size and his profile fits that perfectly, so be it. But I think this is something we're all just going to be a little patient. And this is the first time we've really had to allow our offense to develop.
Right.
Because as soon as Pat got here, the offense was just fireworks.
Yeah.
We had built-in skill players like Travis
made.
Kelce and Tyreek Hill.
It was ready made.
You know what I mean? So we're finding those guys now. We're finding if Sky Moore is going to be that guy. We're finding if Kadarius Toney can stay healthy enough to be that contributor in the offense, or if Rashee Rice is going to be the best wide receiver rookie ever in Andy Reid's offense. Justin Watson is not going to be the guy all year. Just know that. Please just know that. For anybody who believes that, you're off your rocker. Next question is from Mika as well. Why does MVS do the same thing every year? Playing with Mahomes and Reid should elevate his game. He is who he is, man. I mean, I love the signing because we needed a field stretcher, but MVS is who he is. This dates back to his Green Bay days too. Nothing's changed. This is who he is.
This is what I told Trevor, and when Eddie was still with us, this is why when the Chiefs signed MVS, I said I have the lowest expectations with this guy because everybody thought he was going to come in here and change things and become a better player than he was. Guys, this man's played with 2 of the most talented quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, and he averages around 450 yards and about 2 touchdowns a season. That's because he, like Trevor just said, he is who he is. It's not a knock. It's not, because think about this. Through 22 games with the Chiefs, this is playoffs included, Trevor, MVS has 53 receptions for 870 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's an average. That's a per game average of 2 receptions for 40 yards and .02 touchdowns.
He's going to have his games, but
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
What I'm saying is the Chiefs need to get more out of their most proven wide receiver, which unfortunately is MVS.
Yeah.
and he's just not giving it to him. And for some reason, like, it's just so funny that MVS is a part of why the monster of Justin Watson's, revival movement in everybody's mind, like this cult following he now has. It's because of guys like MVS not doing enough.
Yeah.
If MVS was playing at a higher level, Trevor, he played like he did against the Bengals on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
No one's talking about Justin Watson. It's a by default that we have Justin Watson out there. And we see him out there getting passes thrown to him by everybody's like, oh, well, it's because Patrick trusts him. Guys, he doesn't. At this point, the Chiefs don't really have proven commodities to throw to. So a guy that knows the offense, he's going to throw the ball to. It's not because Justin Watson's that good. It's because guys like MVS continue to disappear in games, and you have younger, underdeveloped receivers still learning their way into this league.
Yeah, I agree. Next question is from our guy. We'll breeze past this one, but I want to give him his time on the air here. Hefe KC, did Mahomes need a raise? Wasn't that a kick in the nuts to CJ? We already covered that, but the answer is no. Adam Cole, do you guys think Tranquil, and we covered this as well, do you guys think Tranquil and Chanel hold it down?
Yeah, I do.
Absolutely.
A mixture of the fact that, like I said, of who they're playing, and also the fact that I very much believe in both those guys. Leo Chanel was actually one of my 2 breakout players for the year. I told Trevor it was him and Brian Cook, and so far it's looked absolutely promising for both those guys. So, yeah, I definitely anticipate that both of them will hold it down for Bolton for a week. But, yeah, Bolton is a guy that the Chiefs are going to need for the stretch for sure. That's why I'm totally okay with them holding him out.
Absolutely. Mo Patriot. I totally agree on the no punt return, so he's agreeing with you there on your point about the no punts, and I agree too, man. It's become an Achilles heel. And
I know it sounds silly, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah. Adam Cole again. Didn't McKinnon used to return punts? Yes, but they're not going to put him in that position. At his age, they need him. We're going to need him down the road, and that's just. We know the risk of injury that comes when you return a punt.
Especially when you're 31, 32 years old.
Yeah. And our running back depth is already, leaky at best, so it's best to keep him safe and protected at this moment. Let's see. Mika L. So why do Justin Watson fans think this guy is going to turn into Cooper Kupp this year? It's madness. I think we touched on that as well. I think we agree with you. He's definitely not Cooper Kupp.
He's not, and I think the only reason that's even being in comparison is because he's a pale-faced wide receiver. That's why. And like I said, guys, Patrick Mahomes.
He runs good routes.
He does. He actually does. But the deception is when you play with Patrick Mahomes, you naturally get clumped into, this guy must be the truth. Because I remember back with the Patriots, at the tail end of Brady's tenure with the Patriots, they had the freaking. What's it called? The guy that used to play lacrosse.
Hogan?
Yeah, was it Hogan?
Yeah.
Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan. Like, that guy was trash.
Great athlete. He was a good athlete.
Great, yes, but I'm saying he was not a great wide receiver.
Yeah.
But Tom Brady utilized him, and so
He had
therefore,
some big games too, man.
This guy must be legit. No, you go put him on the freaking, Panthers, he ain't doing shit. So that's Justin Watson was a cast off from the Buccaneers, ironically with Tom Brady, came to Kansas City, and the Chiefs were like, well, we don't have a lot of other options. So this guy looks better than what he actually is. That's what it all is.
Our guy John Harrison on Facebook.
Yeah.
Get the screen game going. Bucks White had 5 catches for 30 yards. I'm right here with you, John. 5 catches for 30 yards, and Packers Jones and Dillon each had 2 to 4 catches for 103 yards. Please get McKinnon a little more involved too. Let the linemen block screens.
This is why
100%.
John Harrison is our official cap strategist and statistician. We pretty much unofficially hired John Harrison this last week, Char. I don't know if you saw that, but John is basically like a part of what we do here now because this guy's always dropping the knowledge. And what he just said right there is 100% true. It falls completely in line with what I've been saying all along about getting this offensive rhythm. If you don't have guys like Tyreek Hill that can make all these off-scheduled plays that Patrick Mahomes loves running, then you got to go out there and be a little bit more structured. And that's what the Chiefs did last season. They built a more structured offense around Patrick Mahomes, more timely routes, more things like that. Patrick's still going to do his off-schedule plays.
Yeah.
That's where him and Travis Kelce come into play because that's their simpatico ways. But not everybody else has that relationship with Patrick Mahomes. You don't have that chemistry with everybody. So you have to play a little bit more structured, a little bit more within the confines of the scheme. And if they do that this week, then things are going to look really efficient and the Chiefs are going to move the ball all day.
Yeah, I am in love with screenplays. I love the screenplays for the running backs and the tight ends. I think Noah Gray could eat in the screen games too because Noah Gray's got wheels. People sleep on his ability to create yards after the catch. So I love those screen passes. I'm right there with you, John. John also says, I'm going to throw this little betting prop in here as well. He says, DraftKings prop bet on MVS 50-plus yards is plus 280. That's good value. I agree, but he's probably going to get 49 yards and leave you pissed off. So there's that. That is good value, though. Plus 280 is solid. I think he could definitely get there on one catch. MVS can get there on one catch. Let's see. James T. Kirk.
Yeah.
Should Bart Scott be removed from the airways?
Well, here's my thing.
I mean, that's
Trevor and I were
years
actually talking to some buddies earlier today in a little chat about, if you missed it, Bart Scott had
once again.
I would say a brain fart, but it's brain Bart.
But brain Bart?
Yeah. This guy, he's a special one, man. If you guys didn't hear it, he was on First Take with Stephen A. and Ryan Clark, and they were talking about Trayvon Diggs tearing his ACL, and Bart Scott, usually when he opens his mouth, stupidity follows, and he said some shit about how, like Stephen A. says, just wait. Something bad's gonna happen, and look, when you're with your buddies and people say something like that, you just kind of laugh at it and move on. But when you're on a national platform like this, and you're a former player, and you understand the intricacies that go into how hard it is to make it in this league, let alone stay in this league, and when you suffer a career-altering, potentially life-altering injury like an ACL tear, you would think that a guy that has played at that level for 8, 9, 10 years like Bart Scott did would have a little bit more empathy with what just happened instead of saying, see, this is what happens. You just wait. It's going to happen to the Cowboys. Dude, J.K. Dobbins just tore his Achilles. Is that a Ravens thing because they've been dealing with injuries? That's a weird thing to say, man. I understand some franchises deal with injuries sometimes at a little higher volume, but this isn't something you laugh about or make a joke about on a national platform to make a point, to make a bit. This is a guy that significantly got injured, and it's really sad to see because he's in line for a big, massive payday one day because he's still on his rookie deal. And it really sucks to see that this could change that. This could take millions of dollars off of his next contract. This could affect the way he plays because this dude's a ball hawk freak athlete, awesome player. And if this changes, if this takes away 8% of his burst and his jump and things of that nature, that could significantly change his career from being an all-pro, potential Hall of Fame player to a guy that used to be really good for a short amount of time. So I didn't like it. I think that it's really sad and shameful, Trevor, honestly, that all these other reputable and classy and, quite frankly, talented individuals lost their jobs at ESPN a couple months ago, and somehow this dipshit made the cut. I don't know how Bart did it. I know that it's probably because of what we're doing right now. He gets people to talk. He gets people because of his stupid shit he says. So ESPN, with no integrity, probably kept him on, and that's the point of it all. So, I don't like seeing people get fired. But if Bart Scott, if we heard today that he lost his job at ESPN, you're not going to see a tear come from my eye.
Yeah. Next question from James T. Kirk once again. Will the Chiefs trade CEH before the trade deadline?
No. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a valuable piece to this offense, whether people like it or not. Biggest reason why? Pacheco. I told you guys before the season that Isaiah Pacheco is a guy they're going to work into the offense as the season progresses because, 1, he's valuable. 2, he's injury prone right now. Pacheco's been hurt a lot over the last 6 to 8 months.
Yep.
So
and he's running back.
You can't trust that he's going to stay healthy. So right now you've got to have as much depth as you possibly can. I know there's a community of Chiefs fans that hate Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I understand that he's been underwhelming to the degree of where he was drafted. He couldn't control that. And honestly, guys, if we're being real here, as much as we praise Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and everybody on this offensive side of things, Clyde has not been utilized correctly. Let's just go ahead and say it. Trevor said it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. In college, with Joe Burrow and that amazing offense in LSU, Clyde was a catch-first running back. Yep. He could run the ball, but this dude was utilized a lot in the pass game. That's not been the case in Kansas City for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they don't think his skill set translates to the game, at this level. I don't know. But all I do know is he's not been utilized in that way or been given that chance. Yeah. I'd like to see that happen. I think if he does, you're going to see one last hoorah from Clyde Edwards-Helaire in this offense before he moves on to another team. But yeah, he's going to be on this team, guys. He's going nowhere. He's going to be on this team for as long as he's healthy and Pacheco deals with the injuries that he's been dealing with.
Next question, Mika. Do you see them trying to get an experienced receiver if KT cannot stay healthy by midseason?
Also, no. Guys, the Chiefs made their bed here. They don't have, unless you're going to find some bargain barrel piece that the Chiefs believe can be a little bit of an upgrade, you're not getting a Mike Evans. You're not getting a Terry McLaurin. You're not getting any notable name. Because, one, you're going to have to trade away valuable assets, and two, a guy like Mike Evans is going to want a contract extension. He's on the last year of his deal, guys. So you're not going to see the Chiefs go and get a guy like that. And if they were, they would have done it 3-4 months ago. They didn't. So why would they do it now? Yep. This is the bed they've made with their wide receiver room. They need to fix it. They need to figure it out. Plain and simple.
Agreed. James Kirk, final question. Nobody wants to see players injured. I want them 100%. All that being said, do you breathe a little easier knowing that Joe Burrow is compromised and the Bengals may have a down year?
I'm going to say no for a third time because I'm going to be real with you guys. I don't fear Joe Burrow. Yeah. I don't fear the Bengals. I respect the hell out of them. Yeah, I respect the Bills. I respect the Ravens. I respect every team in the AFC. But I'm so glad this question was asked, Trevor, because I literally tweeted yesterday, I don't fear a single team in the AFC. Because even though the Chiefs have their inadequacies at wide receiver right now, this is something that can be fixed. What did we say, Trevor? Why did I say that I'm picking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl? It's because every other team in the AFC right now, albeit seem to be pretty loaded, especially when Aaron Rodgers was still healthy coming into the season. Every team has their ifs. The Chiefs' ifs are the ones I'd rather have than any other team in the AFC right now. The Bengals have their issues. The Bills have their issues. The Ravens have their issues. The Steelers have their issues. Go down the line. The Jets definitely have their issues now. Go down the line. The Dolphins, a team that everyone's liking, and I was big on. I had them making the playoffs and everything. Yep. I had them finishing above the Bills in their own division. You're seeing why. They're deadly. But we also know that Tua has his injury concerns. We also know that their defense has been giving up a ton of points.
Waddle's already banged up a concussion.
Yes. Jalen Ramsey hasn't even been playing yet. So, there are a lot of ifs on those teams, and I would not want those ifs. I would rather have the Chiefs ifs where their biggest problem right now is Patrick Mahomes and wide receivers haven't gotten connected yet. That's just a matter of time, guys. So, yes, I respect the Bengals. I don't fear them. And to be honest with you, if I could be totally candid here, I would much rather Joe Burrow being healthy as hell. Because I love the fact that the Chiefs did what they did last season, where they went in there and they beat 3 consecutive first-round quarterbacks. Or, I'm sorry, guys, exactly. Guys that the teams built their franchises around. The Chiefs went and beat those guys with Patrick Mahomes on one leg. So, and they were all on their rookie deals at that time, but they're not first-round picks, but guys that were on their rookie deals. You had Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, and Jalen Hurts.
Now 3 of the highest-paid players.
Exactly. Well, Trevor Lawrence is going to be. The fact remains is that, yes, they did it in a legitimate way. I don't want to be honest with you, Trevor, I don't want to see a 2019 run where the AFC Championship, they're fans Ryan Tannehill.
We don't want no asterisks.
I don't want that. Not that anybody holds that against the Chiefs,
right?
Because the Patriots faced, Mark Sanchez and Jake Plummer and guys like that in the playoffs. But I want to see the best versus the best. I want the Chiefs and Joe Burrow. I want Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow. I want Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. Yeah. I want Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. I want Patrick Mahomes versus Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, it makes for better quality football.
Of course.
So I don't want Joe Burrow to be hurt. And to be honest with you, it just hurts the quality of the game. But no, it doesn't change the way my confidence meter in the Chiefs winning or losing. It doesn't change anything whether Joe Burrow misses games or plays every single game. It doesn't change because I'm still going to pick the Chiefs every time.
Yeah, of course. I'm right there with you, man. John Harrison, rather than tag Jones, it might be better to restrict free agent RFA him number one slot pick than if he gets an offer. Chiefs can match it or at least get a number 1 if they don't match. Franchising guarantees 2 number 1s if you trade him, but if you don't trade, you're bound to $32+ million for the year.
Well, you just heard the crackling in the sky when John broke that down. What the football gods are telling us is the Chiefs are not going to trade Chris Jones at all, and they're not going to tag him.
Right.
I'm telling you guys right now what's going to happen is that Chris Jones is going to be in Kansas City for the next 2 to 3 seasons.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to happen. We've seen the tea leaves already. The Chiefs tried tirelessly this offseason to make it work. There was some awkwardness between him and his representatives. I don't think that's going to happen.
Chris ain't doing that again.
No, I think he learned his lesson. I think he realized where his market is, and quite frankly, guys, his market's not going up.
Right.
Even if Chris Jones has a career year, he will be 30 years old next season. And whether we want to acknowledge that or not, because you guys know Trevor and I are the biggest Chris Jones truthers out there.
Yeah.
We believe this guy is imperative to the Chiefs' success, not just this season, but for the next coming seasons. Well, because he's still at the top of his game. But the market is not going to say, hey, Nobody was going to offer you the 30+ million before, but now that you're in your 30s, it's going to happen. It's not going to happen, guys.
Yeah.
He's going to get 27 to 28-ish million a year, and it's going to be here in Kansas City.
Yeah, and I think the reason, because before, after they figured this out, and he took the incentivized deal this year. I felt like for me personally, I felt like this was the last you were going to see of Chris Jones. But I think this Patrick Mahomes move has this contract movement has changed some things for me. I think Pat did this intentionally and discuss and granted he's getting paid more, so it helps him as well. But I think this is like I said, a dynastic move. I think this is a move to move money around to open up the window for Chris Jones to have some extra guaranteed money later on and incentivize him to stick around and sign a deal that I think will be good enough for him. And I think that's what's sold me on the fact that Chris Jones will be here for the next 2-3 seasons for sure. So I'm there with you on that. MS on YouTube. Will it be time to push the panic button if the Chiefs lose?
This is a very good question because of the fact that under no circumstances can the Chiefs lose this game legitimately. If these two teams play at their best, the Chiefs still win this game by multiple touchdowns because they're just simply better. Yeah. The only way the Chiefs find a way to lose this game is if they have an absolute meltdown. I'm talking 3 to 5 turnovers,
multiple pick sixes,
several key injuries, things like that. That's the only way that happens. So if it does happen, it's only a panic because of what comes after. If they lose this game, it's because they lost some key players and it's going to be for a long period of time, which is something you should panic over. If they have more turnovers than they've had all season in this one game, which would be causation for them to lose this game, that is a concern. That's something to panic over because that means that, oh my God, in a game you just simply can't drop. The Chiefs absolutely shit themselves. That is something to worry about. I'm just telling you guys right now, it's not going to happen. And I know that sounds like an arrogant guy that's setting up this team for a big upset. I don't have that kind of power, and neither do you. The Chiefs are going to go out there and take care of business against a team like this. If it was to happen, I would be panicking over it because, like I said, of what led into that loss. But if both teams – let me put it like this, Trevor. If both teams play really well, no key injuries, and the Bears find a way to win this game, you tip your cap to the Bears because they found a way to win this game. Yeah. But I wouldn't panic because the Chiefs are still going to make the playoffs, even if they lost this game legitimately.
Especially with the rest of our divisions playing.
Exactly.
Of course.
So, no.
Yeah, we're not losing. Next question from MS as well. Follow-up question. My coworker thinks Devontae Adams will want out of Vegas after the season. What do you guys think?
I think he wants out now. I don't think Devontae Adams wants to be there now. I think he made a massive mistake, but he's getting paid incredibly handsome.
Jimmy G throwing you the ball. Goddamn.
Yeah, well, maybe not for much longer, but I think Devontae Adams realizes that he's just there simply to collect those fat checks. I do believe he wants out. I don't know. I'd have to go and look at his contract of when he could even be moved. Yeah. Because other teams would look at it and go, okay, next year he'll be, 31, 32 years old. Do we trade for a guy that's expensive, aging?
Bro, I would take
Oh,
Adams.
God, don't get me wrong. I mean, what I'm saying is you have to think about everything, cap structure, how much you're taking on. Even like guys like Stephon Diggs.
We won't be in a position
you have to
get
think
him.
about that. Yeah, no, the Chiefs definitely wouldn't be. And the Raiders, even as stupid as they are, would not trade Devontae Adams to the Chiefs. So, no, I do think he wants out. I think he already wants out. But I don't think that it's going to be very feasible at this time.
Yeah, I think he knows the competitive edge is just not there for the Raiders. It's just such a train wreck franchise, man, unfortunately. I wish they were more competitive because I miss having really good competitive games. But, I mean, they got rid of a better quarterback and got a much worse quarterback, which is strange, and paid him handsomely when they could have paid Derek Carr to remain the quarterback there. But you know what? It is what it is. Derek Carr's on to better things, obviously. Yep.
Sweet Jesus.
That is, oh, man. That is all the questions I see, man.
Awesome. I think I saw our guy
Brian Parrott here jumped in fashionably late talking about casserole in the oven. Yes.
Yes, sweet. And we will be intolerable as well if the Chiefs were to drop this game, Brian. We promise you we'll join you in that one. We might even have to have you on as a guest if that happens, because I just think that we'd just let you have the floor and you can just cook. And speaking of cooking, hopefully that casserole does not get burnt today, my brother.
It'll be a casserole sadness.
And fashionably late, whatever it is, Brian, we always love it when you're here, bro. So we just appreciate you being here at all. We'll take any time that we have with you, bro, and we just appreciate you being here. We appreciate all you guys. The chat's always great. It's always lively, and we know that's going to only continue because you guys are awesome, and you guys make this show worth it for us, make it fun for us. Otherwise, Trevor and I might as well just take the cameras off and just argue like we do as brothers anyway. So we appreciate that each and every week. Trevor, we have one more order of business to get to. What is it called? Hold this L. Each and every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, who's ever holding the L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor Twidwell, who's holding the L for you this week?
Listen, I love this game. Football is a passionate sport, and it's a very near and dear sport in my heart, in my family, in my DNA. I'm up there with, as passionate as you can get within, without getting out of control and doing crazy things. And I love this game. I love sports in general, and there is great aspects to fandom, and there is a dark side to fandom. And anytime I get a chance to shit on these kind of terrible people that call themselves fans of this game and fans of players in this game, the dark side is, when a player doesn't hit your parlay or doesn't help, get that last leg on your parlay, or the player you're just simply a fan of the team and the player doesn't perform that week for you to your liking and your team loses because of it. The recent Kadarius Toney drops, but this one, and I've talked about this stuff before, and like I said, any chance I get to shit on these kind of quote unquote fans of the sport, fans of these individuals. Past with guys like Raheem Mostert getting told to kill himself, or told that he's receiving death threats over a game where he had a costly fumble, things like that. So recently in the Vikings-Eagles game, very good game by the way. I felt the Vikings were the better team. They should have won that game, but they did have some costly turnovers in that game from some of their star players. One of those star players, obviously being Justin Jefferson, fumbling the ball to the end zone and creating a touchback scenario, which was awful for them. There was a great drive, best drive of the game in my mind. Ended that way. It sucks. But the one I want to get to is the Alexander Madison debacle that's been going on off the field from Vikings fans. It's gotten so bad to where he's had to freeze some accounts and take some time off from social media, where his wife and his brother have had to step in his place to come to his defense, which they don't even need to be doing that in my personal opinion. Absolute just disgusting, racist, and very violent threats towards this man.
Yep.
I'll just read you one. You stupid N-word. Learn how to hold onto the ball. You get paid millions and you can't do shit. This team is 2-0 with this team was 2-0 with Dalvin Cook. Move your black blank to Boise and start selling cars or some shit. You slow, useless blank N-word. I mean, that's just one, you guys. And I know X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, is an absolute cesspool, and people are extremely brave online. I get it. But this is a side of society. This is a side of the human state. This is the side of this is the dark passion of this game when it comes to it. This is the yin to the yang. This is the darkness to the light. When you see both sides of fandom and how toxic it can really be. And I understand players have been toxic as well. We've seen Tyrann Mathieu say some things. We've seen KT say some things as of late. We've seen the hatred going towards Chris Jones in our own backyard right now, just recently.
Yep.
But this is the stuff, man. I don't even want to go on to read. There's some absolutely terrible. That one was honestly light compared to the rest of the ones that I can go on and read. Alexander Madison is a classy guy. Not the best running back in the league. Part of a really good team. But anytime you ever seen him get interviews, he's a very, very soft-spoken guy, very just modest guy. He's a bring your lunchbox to work kind of guy and just goes to work. He had a couple costly fumbles. I get that. But no player... listen, if we're being honest, who knows who these people are online? They're all punching up. Obviously, this guy made it. This guy's playing at a professional level in a sport that is maybe the toughest sport to play and get to professionally, let alone last more than a handful of years, which he has at the running back position. So that's a win enough as it is in life, making millions while these people, got Twitter fingers on here going off and saying as racist and as derogatory shit you possibly can. Telling this man to kill himself and so on and so forth because he dropped the ball a couple times. Unbelievable. I hate this stuff. I hate this part of society. I hate this part of the fandom of the game I love. And I can imagine being the athlete out there and the game that you've dedicated your entire life to. We're just fans here. This guy's dead. This is his life. This is what pays his bills, what feeds his kids. So I hate seeing this stuff. So anytime I get an opportunity to hand out an L to fans and people like this, I will do so. So for that, terrible toxic fans, do me a solid favor and
hold this L. I want to start my portion of this with a W because it needs to be brought up because it hits here in Kansas City big time. We know that with COVID and everything that happened these last couple of years, that there's a lot of disarray, and they doctors and medical practitioners needed as much help as they could possibly get, and Kansas City was blessed and gifted enough to have a former NFL player by the name of Laurent Duvernay-Tardif decide to put those skills in use. We know that he was already in the medical field while playing in the NFL, but he really felt it upon himself to step away from football during COVID to really put that practice to use and help make a difference. And a difference he absolutely made, both on and off the field, because if you remember, he was the starting guard for the Chiefs when they were first Super Bowl in the Mahomes era in 2019. And now he has officially decided to retire from the NFL and work full-time in the medical field, as I believe he's now a doctor, if I'm not mistaken. I know he was an RN, I believe, before that. But now he's fully focused, fully engaged on
That's
this
one big
career.
doctor.
To be able to have not one but two prolific careers in your life, that is one hell of a life to live. And this man's only, I think, like 34 years old. He's got a lot of impact to still make in this world, and I am so happy that he was a part of our team here in Kansas City. The NFL doctor, as they like to call him, man, that's so cool. Larry the doctor gets an opportunity to really, and I hope he gets to bang the drum. I hope he becomes a fan favorite here years from now, where a lot of former offensive linemen in Kansas City are very much adored and loved here. I like Tim Grunhart, Will Shields, Willie Rofe, guys like that. Yep. I would like to see LDT be clumped into that same group. He may not have been as good as those guys, but he played his role, and he is an absolute man of the people. He's probably helped save a lot of lives. I don't even want to try to go into that. All I do know is he's making real impact. He played a kid's game for millions of dollars, and we all loved it, and we all believe sports are very important to our lives. What's even more important is taking care of people's health, and this man is absolutely doing that, and he's done both. And I just wanted to hand a W to our guy, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, for doing what he did and accomplishing a lot of great things in this league, and he will forever be a Super Bowl champion. No one can take that away from him. My L is going to go to the other side of the table from where Fart Scott was last during this whole debacle with the Cowboys topic. It's actually about baseball, and it's our guy Stephen A. Smith. This is something that I think needs to absolutely be addressed, because it's at the end of it's all funny and joking and hilarious and things of that nature with how we saw him quote unquote pitch the first pitch of the Yankees game a couple of nights ago. But it all starts and stems from this conversation that he, Molly Karam, and Mad Dog Russo were having when it came to Shohei Ohtani and the money he is set to make in his next contract. Despite having in that elbow injury, he's going to have surgery, and he may not be able to pitch next season, but he's continue to hit, and then he could maybe resume his pitching career in 2025. This is Stephen A. Smith's initial take on this, and it kind of just goes from there.
I hope that it would make the Angels and everybody else come to their damn senses. I don't want to hear any discussions anymore about him getting $500 million. I don't want to hear it. Okay? The fact is that you can't pitch until 2025. All right? Secondly, you're gonna be compromised in terms of what you're able to do in the field. Number 3, damn it, the Angels don't win. When you look at the Dodgers, when you look at the Braves, when you look at various other teams, you ain't got nobody on there making $500 million. There's a bunch of empty seats that I see when Shohei Ohtani's pitching, let alone hitting. The Angels come to town. You're not filling anything. You're not winning. I'm not giving up that kind of money to him. No, you don't need it. Baseball is showing you. And then when you take into account the new rules, when you take into account, listen, you see the shift rules. You see the new pitching, the things that favors pitching. You see a lot of stuff that's going on. You see the run production. You see stolen bases. You see more home runs, more runs overall. You see it catering more, doggy. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're right. Mr. High Heat. You see the sport catering. Athleticism. I am in no way implying that Shohei Ohtani doesn't have that too. What I am saying is, because the game is evolving in a way that shows you there's a multitude of ways to, proverbially speaking, skin the cat and win baseball games. This dude hasn't been doing that for the Angels. If I'm winning without paying somebody $500 million, why would I go and pay him $500 million? Especially since you can't pitch until 2025. I don't know what you're going to look like when you get back. I don't know if your career as a pitcher is over. I'm not giving Shohei Ohtani that money.
So that's one part of it. Then Stephen A. obviously does his show, the Stephen A. Smith Show. And then, as you would imagine, the baseball community had some pushback on his take, which I'm going to give you guys in a second on my position on this, my take on this. But Stephen A. did a show later that day when it came to reacting to the pushback that he was getting from baseball fans. This is a short snippet of that, and then it brings in another character play that I want to address as well.
But the reason why we don't is shut the hell up. First of all, do me a favor. Tell the baseball community to shut the hell up. Let me tell you what. Why would we do that? I have. Whoa! Whoa! Be quiet. You're gonna call up. You're gonna ask me a question. Let me answer. Blasphemous. I know baseball, the sport. What happens is because I'm so busy with other sports watching it, I don't get to watch as much baseball. But the reason why we don't watch as much baseball, Fuzzy, if you did your homework, is because people don't care ratings-wise when we're watching baseball. We're trying to change that.
You heard him mention a guy named Fuzzy. That's the guy that's on the call, and I'm going to give him credit in just a second. This is the second part of it, admitting that he doesn't have time to watch baseball, and it goes further into that.
Mandor Russo knows that I know baseball, meaning I know the sport. I just don't get to watch anything other than the New York Yankees, which is my hometown team, because a lot of times I'm preoccupied with other sports. Because, Max, how many times have you watched Ohtani play this year? Go ahead. You want to hide again? You want to hide again, Max? You want to hide under the camera again?
Because baseball does not get covered nationally, and we got a lot on our plate. Baseball doesn't get covered nationally.
No. I'm talking about you. You can watch the game, though.
But we have jobs to do, Stephen.
Yes, we do.
So I watch the Yankees, because that's my baseball team.
Hold
on. I watch NFL and NBA.
You really going to try to talk your way around this?
So I should have contextualized that last video a little bit, but there's a point in it. So this is Fuzzy from YT. He's on Twitter. I recommend you guys follow him because he's a hell of a follow. He does MLB recaps, MLB The Show gameplays. Basically, he's a big-time baseball guy. And he's got a humongous following on Twitter, as you can understand why. He did a snippet of that last video with Stephen A., who he was on the phone call with on the Stephen A. Smith Show, having a back and forth with Stephen A. Stephen A. telling him to shut the hell up, telling the baseball community to shut the hell up because he didn't like the backlash he was getting. So what Fuzzy did is he made that snippet of Stephen A. in one video up to date saying that he doesn't have time to watch the Angels and Ohtani. He only watched the Yankees. And they go back 2 years ago to with him and Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Max Kellerman, Stephen A. throwing that in Max Kellerman's face by saying, you don't watch Ohtani, you don't watch enough baseball. So basically Stephen A. is talking out of both sides of his mouth, and Fuzzy was there to expose that. Here's the crux of all this, Trevor. Stephen A. doesn't know baseball. He doesn't understand baseball. He clearly doesn't understand the value of a player like Shohei Ohtani. The biggest reason why is because he's sitting here talking about the dollars and cents as to why he's not valuable, bringing up attendance. Well, it's funny that Stephen A. says that because obviously there are bigger markets than Anaheim. Trevor, you and I know this. We have friends that live out there, and we know that the friends that we have out there in the California region don't care about the Angels. They're irrelevant in their own market.
Yep.
But with that said, Trevor, did you know that this season the Angels have more attendance, more people than the New York Mets, than the Texas Rangers? Texas Rangers, by the way, are a contending team in Texas, baseball-centric, right? Both of those markets have bigger baseball markets, better teams on a more normal basis, yet the Angels have out-attendanced them. Why do you think that is, Trevor? Is it because of Mike Trout? No, Mike Trout's been hurt a lot this season. Who's been the draw? It must be the guy that's the most complete player in the history of this game. And let's not pretend that Stephen A. hasn't already had problems with what he said about Ohtani in the past, about talking about how he's not a big star because he doesn't know English. Yeah. He's not an American player, which MLB of all sports in America are loaded with non-Americans.
Pretty ironic coming from a black man. If I'm being honest.
And that's the whole point in all this is that Stephen A. clearly is speaking out of both sides of his mouth.
Yeah.
And and I hate to say this, man, but there's an ego that's come about him now now that Shannon Sharp has come over to ESPN and is on his show twice a week,
Yeah.
Skip's ratings are absolutely dropping like a brick in the water. And yet he's still punching down on Skip with this whole thing by having Shannon Sharp relish on the whole fallout between them two. I thought that was extremely punching down, even though you're winning in the ratings and you have Shannon Sharp on your side.
bro.
You're winning. Yeah, you're winning. You're the biggest sports personality in all of sports coverage. And this is a problem, though, Trevor, that now ESPN has to take on by sacrificing all these people that actually know what they're talking about, but they're not the polarizing figure a guy like Stephen A. is. So you have to substitute their integrity and their sports knowledge and put him on there and expect to know what he's talking about when he clearly does not.
Trying to belittle Max again. That's
Yeah,
my guy, man.
Yeah, exactly. And what's funny about that is that we hear him constantly talking about Max. Other people constantly talking about Max, and Max is over here just living his
That's my
life.
guy,
Never
dude.
talks about it. Never does anything. Just keeps living his life. I just find that amazing, man. But I know what that's like because that's how it is on social media, especially. But the best part about it is, I can't show you on here, but I highly recommend you guys go and watch it. Stephen A. subsequently and simultaneously was asked to throw the first pitch out at Yankee Stadium this week after these comments. And I hope that you guys get a chance to watch the damn video because it's one of the most hilarious things ever. It shows you that a lot of these dudes, and it's ironic too, Jerry brings up Max Kellerman, because he said the reason why Max Kellerman didn't work on First Take is because Max Kellerman was neither an athlete or a journalist.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I didn't see much of an athlete out of Stephen A. when he threw that first pitch because he grounded it about 30 feet down the line. So, hilarious as shit. Stephen A. takes an L on his own show by a guy named Fuzzy. That's already an L in itself. And now he gets doing it here at the Spoken Podcast. So, Stephen A., do me a solid, my brother, and hold this L. Appreciate it, my guy. Good times, fun times. Baseball season's almost over. This is the best time of the year, man, because baseball postseason's about to kick off. NFL's in full swing. NBA's about to start back up. Can't wait for that either. And more importantly, man, we have you guys each and every Saturday to talk to and get to know better. We've had some new people today. A lot of the regulars still showed up. We love you all equally and the same. We appreciate all you guys the same. And we hope that we can keep this thing rocking, man, and have a continually fun time. Again, I said at the top, I'll say at the bottom of the show, if you're looking for our recap from the show, the game previous with the Chiefs, go to Chatting Up the Chiefs on Starcade Media's YouTube page. You will see those videos, Trevor and I, alongside 9-year veteran and former Chief Von Booker. We give you our immediate responses and reactions to what we saw from the Chiefs game that week, that day. So we will not be recapping games on this show. What we're doing is we move forward with each and every episode. We talk about the game that's coming up. So, like I said, just want to let you guys know, and if you've not already done it, hit us up, guys, on YouTube as well at the Spoken Podcast. Subscribe, hit the notification button, and get in the comments and let us know what you guys have to say and what you guys want us to say in response to your questions. But until then, until we do this next week, guys, for Trevor Twidwell, for Clay Windler that puts all this together on the back end, highly recommend, by the way, you guys go to Red Tribe Cinema and see his new video he did for the Jacksonville Jaguars game. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely loved it. It was a great time.
Never disappoints.
Yes, for these two awesome guys that helped me put this thing together, I am Lance Twidwell of the Spoken Podcast. Episode 235 is done, finished, finito. And until we're here in 1 week's time for episode 236 to talk about a hopeful Chiefs beatdown in a stress-free game against the Bears, we out of this bitch.
Later.